Welcome to the Cotuit Kettleers pregame show, everybody. Alongside me, Ben Fisher. I'm Zach Kaplan. We're back after a day at Fenway Park yesterday for the Kettleers and the other 9 Cape League teams. It was a workout amongst scouts and others. Friends, family were in attendance as well at America's most beloved ballpark. She looked beautiful at 106, and I'd say we enjoyed our time there.
Oh yeah, it was easily I would say probably my favorite day of the summer. One of the best days of my life. Getting to go on the field as I like to call myself here a semi-working journalist. So getting to go on there, even sort of half working, interviewing the guys, getting to see guys that we've gotten to know this summer sort of try to hit balls out of Fenway Park was just. It was incredible for me. I can't even imagine how it must have felt for them. So it was certainly a highlight of the summer for me, and I have to assume for the players too.
Although you got in on the action a little bit, you can check it out on our Instagram at Cotuit Kettleers. Ben Fisher and Max Curran, one of our video guys, you might know him from the vlog. They're in that picture. Ben squatted down sort of like this, and then Max is just laughing at him. They both got to shag in the outfield, which I thought was pretty cool. So that must have been a great time. Did you know how many you caught?
I caught one. I had a ball. Will Robertson hit one. He had a high twisting fly into the corner, and I actually misplayed it. I had it. I was about 5 feet away from it, and I lost it up in the sun because I didn't have sunglasses on. I dropped that one, and actually some of the Harwich guys were stretching out to run their 60s. They were combining a little bit of chirping with a little bit of encouragement. But then no, they were very nice. Then I caught one. From Dilly, Thomas Dillard, and I caught one. They gave me a little hand, so that was very nice of them. Yeah, catching one on the field at Fenway. Always dreamed of doing it as a pro baseball player. I think we can agree that's probably not going to happen. Maybe, but getting to catch one on the field, yeah, it was certainly a highlight. Again, huge thanks to Pete Flaherty for lending me his gloves so I could do that. One of our baseball ops guys. We shout him out a lot on this show, but that was a very nice thing to let me have his glove to do that. So yeah, definitely, like I said, highlight of the summer, probably highlight of my life. I don't think I'm going to do something that cool again in my life. So
fun was had by all. We even got to go in the home dugouts, got to go around the park sort of at the warning track. The Green Monster door was locked, in case you were wondering. Tried to go in there, pull a little Manny Ramirez and hang out in there. No luck there. But we're back here today, and the Harwich Mariners are in town. It was funny. We were just seeing the guys yesterday, some of their broadcasters. We said, well, we'll see you tomorrow, I guess, because we're right back here for a home-and-home set. We're here today, and we're at White House Field tomorrow. And then, of course, the festivities getting ready over there for Sunday's All-Star Game, which the Mariners are hosting. A few Kettleers are in that as well. I know we mentioned it on Sunday. It was a little bit by the wayside of a pregame show, but Zach Bierman may be back, may not be back. We're going to talk about him in a little bit, but Zach Humphreys and Stephen Schock as well are representing the Kettleers in that game. Let's talk about Bierman. Speaking of which, he's gone. He's back at school. He's kind of handling some logistical things. They hope to have him back by next week or so. There are no promises towards that. Hopefully back for the All-Star game. Of course, it's a big deal in this league to get into the All-Star game. There's sort of no promises as to his status. And then Ryan Reynolds yesterday, it was really the only damper on the day was seeing him. You kind of want to explain what happened. He sort of threw his back in the 60.
Yeah, I wasn't really clear on what happened. I was trying not to. It was him and our trainer were working on that, and I was trying not to.
Craig Moody, big shout out.
Craig Moody. I was trying not to cramp them too much, but I was sort of standing by. It looked like he had some discomfort to start the day. He said he ran the 60, felt a little more discomfort. I think then he tried to stretch it out, and I think he realized he wasn't going to be able to go the rest of the day. I think he left early with his dad to come back to the Cape. I think he's getting MRIs, so they're looking at him. You hope it's not too serious. It seemed, it wasn't, I don't think it's something like him slipping a disc. He wasn't like collapsing on the field or anything, but there was clearly some discomfort physically, and then just to lose that day at Fenway, to not get to take infield and not get to hit was really unfortunate. But so yeah, that was really the only downside of the day. But I'm hopeful, and I think everybody around the organization is hopeful that he's going to come back, and I think it would be a great birthday present for him. Shout out to Ryan on his birthday, if he can get some positive news from his doctor's visit and be back in the Cotuit lineup soon.
Absolutely, happy birthday to him, and happy birthday to our own Richard Sawyer as well, our game day coordinator. Turning the big. Oh wait, no, he said not to say the number. Never mind. Let's talk about transactions a little bit. Garrett Woolforth in sort of filling in for Reynolds in the lineup today, and then filling in on the roster for Joe Boyle, who has sort of been released by the team. It seems a little bit mutual there. We won't delve into that, but he has been released. Garrett Woolforth tongue twister, that one, is filling his roster spot and is filling in today in the lineup, batting 5th as the designated hitter. What can you tell us about Woolforth? He's from Dallas Baptist. He's been working hard. I mean, we've seen this guy. He's had some good BP. He's taken some good BP, I should say. He was hitting some balls pretty far yesterday at Fenway, but this is his first time in the lineup and first time in game action. It's safe to say it's pretty well deserved.
Yeah, he was one of 5 guys to put one over the monster yesterday. He's taken some really impressive BP, which, I mean, it doesn't show how you're going to do in a real game, but it shows the raw power potential of if he squares one out, what he can do to one. He's looked good behind the plate, catching bullpens and stuff, and it's really impressive. You have to give him kudos for. He's been here probably I would say probably 3 weeks, give or take, and he hasn't been activated. He's been doing bullpen catching. He's been taking infield, outfield. There have been days where they haven't had time to get him in on batting practice because he hasn't been activated, and he has just kept doing what's asked of him. He's kept, as our beloved Bill Belichick would say, he's kept doing his job, and so I think I certainly know I am. I would have to think the players and coaches are very happy to see him get in the lineup, not only because he seems like a great guy who's done his job the last few weeks, but because also, like you said, he does fill in for Reynolds as sort of a big, imposing power bat in the middle of that lineup, and I think he goes in. Coach Roberts, when we were talking to him about Reynolds a few days ago, he said he likes how Reynolds scares people, and I think we can file Woolforth. He doesn't quite have the resume of a guy like Reynolds or Tolia or Thomas Dillard, but he's a big, imposing guy at the plate, and he's a guy where you have to keep in the back of your mind, if I miss my spot here, he might hit one to the moon. So he's certainly, I'm very excited to see him in the lineup, and hopefully in the next few days to see him behind the plate.
So Woolforth's in the lineup, and let's get into these lineups now. Cotuit trying to come off a big loss on Sunday to the Falmouth Commodores, but that day off, I think Coach Roberts sort of hoping that can re-energize his club. A lot of the hitters were at Fenway yesterday, and a decent amount of pitchers, but a lot of pitchers took the day off, maybe to go to the beach or something like that, to get some much-needed R&R. Let's talk about the Cotuit lineups. There was the lineups, I should say, starting with Cotuit. Will Robertson leads off batting first, playing right, sort of back in that leadoff spot. I know Coach Roberts had tinkered around with having Bierman in there, but Bierman not here. Robertson is back in that spot. Michael Tolia back up to second in the order, playing left field from UCLA. Thomas Dillard in the 3 spot, playing first. Corey Wood in the cleanup spot, playing second today. So a big up for him. We haven't seen him in that spot so far this year. And then, as we mentioned, Garrett Woolforth, the designated hitter, making his debut from Dallas Baptist University, a JUCO in Texas. Duke Ellis in the 5 spot, and in the 6 spot that is playing center field, and then Brady Smith at third base batting 7th. Michael Salvatore, that is, playing shortstop from Florida State in the 8 spot. Zach Humphreys, the all-star, in the 9th spot, and he's doing the catching for Bryce Bonin from Arkansas, who makes his first start today. We saw Bryce in a game against Hyannis in his first appearance. It wasn't a clean inning, but today he gets the first start. Can you tell us sort of what to expect from Bonin today?
Yeah, he looked, I think based on talking with him, he wasn't entirely happy with his outing against Hyannis. He was fine against Hyannis is what I would say. He wasn't great. He certainly didn't pitch up to his potential, and I think he knew that based on when we talked to him. He was asking us about his velocities after the game. He seemed a little bit disappointed to be sitting in the low 90s instead of getting up to the mid 90s where he can get and has gotten at Arkansas. And I don't think he was using, we talked about him when he was activated. Before we'd seen him down here, we talked about how Thomas Dillard, who's one of the best hitters on this team, said that Bonin, an SEC foe, Arkansas Ole Miss, said that Bonin has one of the best sliders Dillard's ever seen, which is really high praise. I don't think we saw it quite as effective as it can be against Hyannis. So I think I'm hopeful that he can get with his full starters warm-up and coming on with a clean inning and even a clean game, hoping that he can use that stuff that people have said can be really electric, especially that fastball and slider, to get people out. So I think he certainly has the potential to give him a great start. I'm not sure how long of a leash or how deep of a start he'll be able to give, but if he can even give 3 or 4 quality innings to turn over to a pretty rested bullpen after the day off, I think I would put Cotuit in a great position in this game.
Absolutely. We'll see what Bonin's stuff, what he has to offer. He gave up 1 run in that start in that relief appearance, I should say, against Hyannis. It was unearned, so chance for him to still start with a clean slate, clean ERA, that is, heading into today's game. Let's talk about the Harwich Mariners, who come in 13-17-1 on the year, 27 points. They're right locked into that 3rd spot in the East Division. Their playoff chances really aren't up for debate. It seems like they have that clear jump over Orleans and Brewster, who I guess they're kind of in a battle for the last playoff spot in the East. It's just a battle of futility versus futility. It seems to be starting to turn into, that is, but. Seems like these guys are locked into the playoffs, but they're not quite up to the potential, or at least they haven't been up to the potential of a Chatham, of a YD so far. So they're locked into that 3 spot, but they're definitely in the middle third of the division. They'd be right into the middle of the playoff race, along with Cotuit and Bourne, if they were in the Western Division, I would say. Now let's talk. Their starter today is Will Matheson, and it all starts in the top of the lineup as we go through the Harwich starting lineup with Tanner Morris, the shortstop, who's been an absolute beast this year for the Mariners, and right behind him, Chris Galland, local kid from BC. He's been a smooth hitting center fielder as well. He put on a clinic here the last time these two teams met when Harwich absolutely dominated the Kettleers at Lowell Park late last month. Then Aaron Shunk in the 3 spot, the designated hitter. Andre Lipsius in the cleanup spot playing first. Danny Casals playing second base, batting 5th. Matt Gorski in the 6th spot playing left field. Nate Eichhoff at third base, batting 7th. He got his first hit against the Kettleers in that blowout win late last month, and it was the loudest cheer I've heard from an opposing dugout this season. It was 0 for 25 going into that at bat, but he seems like he's started to find his way at the plate since then. Following him is Gabe Rivera, who started to really heat up for this team as well, and then Logan Driscoll rounds things out at the catcher. Rivera's in right field, by the way. All for Will Matheson from Stanford, who comes in with 15 hits and 6 walks allowed in 13 2/3 innings. Seems like opponents can really have their way with him, but of course anything can happen on a day like this.
Yeah, certainly, and today is the kind of day where Robert's mantra of sort of swing hard and swing early really comes into play. When you're a pitcher who allows guys to hit 306 against you, you're a guy 6 walks in 13 innings. You don't want to be helping him out because he's certainly a guy who can give you free base runners, but also he's not overpowering. He relies on a cutter in the mid-80s, which we talked to the Harwich broadcasters. They said is good and not great. He doesn't really have electric stuff, and he's not. We've seen guys like John Baker this year who don't have electric stuff, but they mix it so well. They don't walk guys. They get ahead of you in the count, where they can be just as effective as guys with tremendous stuff like Graham Stinson that we saw for Orleans earlier this year. Matheson is not that guy. It seems like he's very hittable. So I think if Cotuit, you sort of have to feel him out early in the game. I think early in the game will be very important. If he's not throwing strikes, don't help him out. But on the flip side of that, you really have to swing at strikes early in the count. Don't let him get ahead of you, because if you let him get ahead of you, you're giving him a huge lifeline, and you want to be jumping on early strikes in the count to get runners on base, maybe get guys in motion, and really punish a very hittable pitcher.
Mariners not exactly a power hitting team. They're last in the league with only 10 home runs on the season, but they lead the league with 58 doubles. So it seems like they like to hit the extra bases, but they might double you to death rather than hit home runs on you. It's kind of like we're saying, it's a very middle of the pack team, and we'll go over the standings. They're literally a middle of the pack team as far as those are concerned, but they're a middle of the pack team. They won't kill you, except for the one game where they really did here last time these two met at Lowell Park at least, but it seems like the road team kind of has the advantage in this one. Cotuit went into their place, played pretty well, got the win. 4-1 win. It was the most nerve-wracking 4-1 win we've ever seen. The Mariners, that is, loaded the bases in the 9th inning, ready to tie the game. Literally, the go-ahead run was at the plate, but a strikeout by Garrett Gale shut him down, and it was, again, a very nerve-wracking 4-1 win. But then the Mariners came here last time, just had their way with Cotuit. But it's a very middle-of-the-pack team, and then hitting-wise, I mean, they're going to try to get on base and steal because they can't really hit it over the wall.
No, they're very. I think sort of those two things average out, leading the league in doubles, last in the league in home runs. You sort of average that to a middle of the pack team, and then the rest of the statistics, they are in the middle of the pack. I was looking at everything. You're clicking on the stats to sort, and you see sort of, you go through, you're seeing the teams at the top and the bottom, and then every single time in the middle, you see, okay, there's Harwich, they're 4th, there's Harwich, they're 6th, there's Harwich, they're 3rd, there's Harwich, they're 7th. They don't really blow you away in any statistical category. The difference is, at the start of the season when they were a little bit hotter, they were consistently in the area of 3rd or 4th in statistics, and now they're moving down to where they play like they're 6th or 7th in statistics, and that's caused sort of their recent skid. So I think they need to be, they're going to be consistent. The question is whether they can be consistently good instead of consistently bad, because they're not going to be great and they're not going to be awful. But if they can sort of tip the balance a little bit in their favor, they do enough to win games. But the question is whether they can just push it to do enough to win this game. or whether they don't do enough and just sort of, they're not going to lose a lot of games based on their own mistakes, but they're certainly a team where if you do enough things, you can beat them pretty without a ton of spectacular play on your team. So I think they're definitely a vulnerable team. It's hard to predict baseball one day at a time, but this is certainly a game that Cotuit should come in and feel like they can win and maybe even dominate.
It would be a big deal for the Kettleers to get a win out of this. The division standings tight as ever. Well, let's get into those right now. In the East Division, we'll start off with, of course, Harwich locked in there at third. YD leads the league and the division at 40 points, 18-8-4 on the Red Sox this year. Seems like they're right back to their ways of three-peating like they did 2014 through 2016. So they're right back in the top of the league, and it seems like they're going to be right there for the long haul. Following them up, 8 points back now are the Chatham Anglers, so 4 games back if you're counting it. Remember, again, 2 points is a win, 1 point a tie. You obviously don't get nothing if you lose. So Chatham, 4 games back of them, it seems. Harwich, another 4 games back of Chatham. 27 points, 13-17-1 on the year, but they have a comfortable 2-point lead, and I say comfortable with sarcasm, on Orleans with 25 points, 12-17-1 are the Firebirds coming in at today's games. And then Brewster, 7-21-3 is 17 points, so the gap starting to open a little bit, 8 points in between them and the Firebirds. They'll see if they can close that up today. Let's talk about the West Division now. It's the Wareham Gatemen who are still in the lead. They're starting to come back. Seems like they're still staying that way. They're 3 points up on Hyannis. Hyannis has 34 points. Kettleers losing to Hyannis late last weekend on Saturday. So 34 points are I almost called them the Mets, the Harbor Hawks. So 34 points for them. Falmouth, a game above 500 with 31 points. So 3 points back and then 3 points back. So Falmouth still within range of Wareham, you could argue, with 6 points back there. Cotuit 3 points back of Falmouth at 28 points, and then Bourne is right on their keister, right on their tuchus, as we'd say in Yiddish, with 27 points. So the Braves, a win for them and a loss for the Kettleers, puts the Kettleers back in last place. They really got to stay woke on that today.
Excellent use of stay woke, and also of Yiddish. Your hosting is getting better every day. But yes, I mean, it's like we've been saying all year. It's everybody else, and then it's Brewster. And they gave me a little fright there. I was worried I was going to be wrong about them when they won 3 in a row. But they've fallen.
Would have looked like Trent Dilfer calling the Patriots not good anymore.
But they've fallen back to sort of being the Brewster that we've seen all year. But everybody else, really, it's tightly packed, and you could see any of these teams making a run. Really, it is Wareham and YD that have sort of separated themselves, and YD more than anybody else. It's really, I think the ties have really impressed me for them, just in terms of finding ways, even when they can't win a game, they found ways to not lose games, which I think has shown sort of that next gear for YD, as opposed to there have been some close games where Wareham has sort of lost instead of being able to hold on for a tie to pick up that point. So I think those points that YD has gotten for the ties, they've helped them so far, and I would not be surprised at all if those 1 point instead of no points really come back huge at the end of the season, because YD has looked very good, but as we saw from Brewster last year, when you get in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. So home field advantage, I think, will be very big for them, because as we've seen, they're tremendous at home. And if they have home field advantage through the playoffs, they're going to be tough to beat. So I think YD certainly has separated themselves from everybody else. And then really the rest of the league, besides Brewster, is sort of pretty tightly clustered in that middle area. So I think definitely there's nobody to sleep on yet. But YD has really sort of shown that they're the cream of the crop right now.
Some smooth hitting yesterday. We saw Andrew Doshbach hit, I think, a few over the monster during batting practice. YD going right before the Kettleers, and the hitting clinic that is their lineup just continues to express itself on a nightly basis. Last night we were at Fenway Park, of course, so no games around the Cape Cod Baseball League. It was a league-wide day off. But I got to talk about one game from Sunday, a 3-2 Brewster loss where they got no hit. Now, Ben, I got to ask, have you ever heard of a game where someone scored 2 runs, a team has scored 2 runs, and been no hit?
I have, but I can't think of any specific examples, and it was crazy because to put up 2 in the bottom of the 9th and still not get a hit, to still lose. I think with that, when that score got to 3-2, if I'm the pitcher, I am nervy as all get out, because if you lose that no-hitter and you let them tie the game or beat you, you're going to want to bury yourself on that mound.
It'd be pretty terrible. I can only imagine for them. We got the choir filling in right next to us as we get ready for today's against the camp night here at Lowell Park. So very crowded, a lot of kids around. The choir right next to us, obviously. Big occasions here for these home dates at Lowell Park. We only get 22 of them, Scott, so you got to savor them up. Just quickly looking around the league, Harwich at Cotuit starting just minutes from now. The only 5 o'clock start around the Cape League. Bourne at Hyann is a chance for Bourne to close that gap in the West Division. And then Falmouth at Wareham, 6:30, a big game for the Commodores up north of the bridge. And then Brewster at Chatham and YD at Orleans, a couple of Eastern Division games tonight. So more chances there for Brewster and Chatham. Brewster trying to climb out of that hole, see if they can do it. But this is the only interdivisional game tonight, and it's just about to begin. That'll do it for us. It's in the low 80s here, but it's about as humid as the Florida swamplands here at Lowell Park in beautiful Cotuit, Massachusetts. That'll do it for us. On behalf of Ben Fisher, I'm Zach Kaplan. We'll see you in a couple of days. We're going to Harwich tomorrow. We'll be back later this week. Now let's send it up to our broadcast booth where Sam Brief and Sam Niederman have the call. Guys, hope you can stay cool up there, find some air conditioning, but I think it's time to send it up to you.
Thanks, Zach. No AC where I am. I'm going to go try and huddle in an icebox. But first, we got a game to call. It's the Kettleers and the Mariners for the 3rd time this season. I'm Sam Brief alongside Sam Niederman, and we are just about 10 minutes ahead of first pitch between these two sides. Kettleers coming off of a tough loss against Falmouth before the Fenway workout yesterday. It was an 8-1 loss to the Commodores, and that Falmouth offense really just exploded from the get-go. 2 home runs for the Commodores. They ended up with 8 runs on 11 hits. For Cotuit, their offense was quiet. Just 1 run that came across in the 9th. 3 hits for the Kettleers. So they come on lacking a little bit of momentum, but certainly chances to turn it around today against a team whose number they had last time out.
A new start for the Kettleers this afternoon and a chance to get a little bit of momentum, and maybe the last chance. We look at this 5-game stint in the schedule in between yesterday's Fenway workout and Sunday's All-Star game. Crucial stretch for the Kettleers if they want to make their playoff chase any more easier. This is going to come down to the wire regardless. Jockeying with Bourne, jockeying with Falmouth. 3 teams that could go anywhere in those 3, 4, or the 5th spot looking on the outside in for the playoff chase in the Western Division. Offense wasn't there, as you said, Sam, against Falmouth. It was a dismal performance at the plate, shut out all the way until the bottom of the 9th inning, and they scored a run on an RBI fielder's choice. Not the offensive day that Mike Roberts would have wanted out of this side, but a new start, a clean slate. Hopefully the team is focused and sharp today and come out aggressive early.
So today's opponent is the Harwich Mariners, who come in 13-17-1 in the thick of the East Division race at 3rd in the East. We know the East has been weaker than the West, so with that record, they're still 3rd in their division. The Kettleers 4th in the West, 13-14-2. And today, the starting pitcher for the Kettleers is going to be Bryce Bonin out of Arkansas, rising sophomore. This will be his 2nd appearance of the season. His first start, the first time we saw him, was back against Bourne. He pitched in relief, but we get to see him start today, and that's going to be a different kind of energy from Bonin. He's a hard-throwing righty. He has a lot of potential. And we talked to Mike Roberts. He doesn't really know what he's going to get from him.
He doesn't exactly know, but I think that's where everybody stands. And Jerry Weinstein has been working with Bonin ever since his arrival from the College World Series. This is a hard-throwing right-hander with life on his fastball, sits in the low to mid-90s, about 93 as an average, can top out at 95, maybe even 96. 6'1", not that imposing physically, but a downhill delivery. This is the kind of power pitcher that Cotuit could use in their rotation. A lot of the guys that we've seen this year have been more location pitchers, finesse pitchers with good off-speed stuff that get ahead in the count early. Now, there's certainly nothing wrong with that, but a good change of pace guy to potentially add to the rotation. He was impressive in his relief outing the last time that we saw him. I'm curious to see how he works as a starter today. Power pitcher with a lot of velocity. Kettleers will be looking for a quality start out of him, 5 or 6 innings.
On the other side, it'll be Will Matheson. We'll talk more about him when he takes the mound for the Mariners. It's Bonin against Matheson, a pair of righties. After the national anthem, we'll get you the full starting lineups, but just looking big picture for this day, we're now in sort of the 3rd act of the season. This is game 30 for the Kettleers. They're right in the thick of the playoff race. If the season ended today, the Kettleers would be in the playoffs, right ahead of the Bourne Braves by 1 point. The Kettleers with 28. the Braves with 27. This is a big game for the Kettleers, just momentum-wise, as they turn in towards that third trimester of the season.
Yeah, this is the third act, and as we go with movie structure, the second act, that's where our heroes are at their lowest point. So now it's time to rally and get to that resolution. It starts today against Harwich. You got the home and home series going to Harwich tomorrow. Big chance to pick up some momentum for the Kettleers.
The Kettleers and the Mariners, just a few minutes away from first pitch. We'll take a break for our national anthem with an interview. Before the game, Sam and I had a chance to catch up with head coach Mike Roberts. Take a listen. Down here on the field with Mike Roberts and coach entering after the Fenway workout, what you call sort of the third act of the season. What needs to be the team's mentality coming down the home stretch?
Pretty tough since we got one guy injured in Fenway yesterday out of running 60s, which should never be done. And then Zach Bierman's gone for the week, so we're position players, so it's got to be pretty tough. Together, you have to pick each other up in whatever way that may be, and nobody knows prior to games being played how's that going to be. Is, you know, if a guy has a couple of tough at bats, you pick him up and say, you know, the next one's the most important at bat, because we have almost no maneuverability with our lineup, very little, and so everybody's got to do their part, and instead of 4 people, you know, possibly carrying you in an offensive situation, if you're talking about offense, and we need 8 or 9 to carry us. And when you lose 2 bats like Bierman and Reynolds in one day, then that's you got a lot to pick up.
And coach, another bat that was just recently added to the lineup in Garrett Wolforth. We know he's been around as a bullpen catcher. What's his story? What have you seen from him in the last few weeks?
I know he's a great young man, and he's outworked everybody here in regards to the role that he's had, and he's happy he's on the roster now. But you know, do I really know a lot about him physically as far as what the baseball player is? I don't. It's just kind of one of those things up in the air, and you know, you bring somebody up from, you know, not the minor leagues here, but you just kind of bring somebody up on the roster who like is done in pro baseball, and we hope that that's the right person. And Garrett's a great person, and so I know he'll give it everything he's got.
And Bryce Bonnin on the mound today, making his second appearance of the season, his first start. What can we expect out of the right-hander from Martins?
Again, yeah, you know, I know he's athletic. I know he has a good arm.
I'm sorry, dude.
The starting role would be different. Probably go back to
leave his mark on that.
high school. So we're just going to stay where he goes. And again, that's summer baseball. You, as a manager,
That's what you're doing to other people. Down here on the field with Mike Roberts and coach entering after the Fenway workout, what he calls the third act of the season. What needs to be the From Fenway Park to Loa Park, the Kettleers had a successful workout yesterday in front of all the scouts at historic Fenway Park in Boston. And today the Kettleers return home to beautiful Loa Park for the third matchup of the season against the Harwich Mariners. Sam Brief, Sam Niederman, Sam and Sam here in the broadcast booth. We will have the call for you today live from Loa Park. It was a 10-3 win the first time around between these two sides here in Cotuit. Last time around, a 4-1 win for the Kettleers down in Harwich. That was on Sunday, July 8th. And today, the third matchup between these two teams. Pitching matchup today will be Bryce Bonnin and Will Matheson as the Kettleers take the field behind their starting pitcher, Bryce Bonnin, his second appearance of the season. He's a 6'1", 190-pound righty. A hard-throwing sophomore out of Mont Bellevue, Texas. He goes to the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. He has one appearance this season for the Kettleers. That was back on Wednesday at Hyannis. He kind of platooned with Keegan Gillis, another new arm for the Kettleers out of Tulane. Bonnin came on in relief for some of those middle innings. He went 2 innings and a third. He gave up 1 run, which wasn't earned, on 3 hits and 3 strikeouts. And today, He gets his first start as a Kettleer going opposite Will Matheson, another right-hander for the Harwich Mariners. Here's the defense behind Bryce Bonin. He's pitching and catching right now. Warm-ups with Zach Humphreys, starting catcher today for Mike Roberts. Around the horn, getting his first start this season at third, is Brady Smith, shortstop Mike Salvatore. At second base, Corey Wood, and at first, Thomas Dillard for the fourth consecutive game. In the outfield is Michael Tolia in left, Duke Ellis in center, and Will Robertson, the right fielder. All behind Bryce Bonin, number 31, first start of the season. Now here's the lineup he'll go up against. It's Steve Englert's Harwich Mariners. Englert, the lead man in his 16th season in Harwich. And his lineup today will look like this. Tanner Morris, the shortstop out of Virginia, will lead things off. Chris Galland out of Boston College, he's in center, batting second. Aaron Shunk out of Georgia, he's the DH, batting third. In the cleanup spot is Andre Lipsius out of Tennessee. He plays first base. Danny Casals, the second baseman, will bat fifth out of the University of Maine. Matt Gorski, the Indiana Hoosier, is in left field. He'll bat sixth. Nate Eichhoff in the seventh hole. He's the third baseman out of Virginia. The Miami right fielder, Gabe Rivera, will bat eighth. And in the 9 hole for Harwich is Logan Driscoll, the catcher out of George Mason. That's the lineup to go up against Bryce Bonin. And the Kettleers looking to go back to 500 on the season. Morris digs in, Bonin kicks and deals. It's a ball outside, and we're underway here at Lowell Park for the Kettleers and the Mariners. 5 o'clock, sunny, muggy, about 85 degrees here in Lowell Park. Hoping to beat the rain, expected to come to the Cape later tonight, as Bonin fires in a second pitch ball to Morris. The Virginia Cavalier, a lefty shortstop. One of just 3 lefties in the lineup to go up against the righty in Bonin, who sends his 2-0 low and outside. A quick 3-0 advantage for Tanner Morris. He's a .337 hitter on the season, 1 home run, 17 batted in. He's been one of the highlights of this Mariners offense. As the 3-0 is a fastball down the pipe, 91 miles per hour from Bonin. It's a 3-1 count. Morris red hot. He's got a hit in 9 of his past 10 games as he sets back in for the 3-1. Fastball misses low, 5-pitch walk, and Harwich has its leadoff runner aboard.
Not the start that Cotuit was looking for from Bryce Bonin on the mound, missing with 3 consecutive fastballs to start that at bat. Finally got one over and then missed about in the same exact spot on Tanner Morris. Just couldn't get it back over the plate. And just like that, the Mariners with a leadoff base runner, and now it's time for a ground ball.
That base runner, Tanner Morris, takes his lead, and Bonin will check on him with a throw to first. Chris Galland, center fielder out of Boston College, up next. Kettleers in the home white pinstripes. Maroon Kettleers trimmed in navy across the front. Maroon and navy Kettleer hats with the Old English C across the front, as Chris Galland fouls off the first pitch from Bonin. Harwich in a different road kit than we saw last time out. Last time at Lowell Park, they were in the all grays. This time they've got the gray pants, but with the navy blue tops, with the Harwich M with a little white star around it in the top left. Here's the 0-1 to Galland, low at his feet for ball 1. One of the best parts of the Harwich uniforms is pretty much everyone wears the high socks with the stirrups. And today it's a navy sock with 3 red stripes across the side. A sharp look for the Mariners. 1-1 the count, 1 out. Here's Bonin's pitch, high and tight. There's ball 2. So this is Bryce Bonin, second appearance of the season. First one was in relief last week. He's from Arkansas. Back in 2017 out of high school, Barbers Hills High School in Mont Belvieu, Texas. He was a 26th round selection of the Cubs. Here's a chopper on the left side to the third baseman, Brady Smith. Charges in, fires to first, but it's off the bag and not in time. An infield single for the speedy Chris Galland. And just like that, Harwich with 2 runners aboard. Still no one out here in the top of 1.
If you heard our pregame interview with Coach Mike Roberts, we touched on resiliency and bouncing back from uncontrollable factors in the game of baseball, which is what baseball is, such a mental game. And a tough start already for Cotuit, a leadoff walk, and then just a little infield hit where Bonin does his job to get Galland to miss on a pitch, but unfortunately hit into no man's land on the left side of the infield, and a tough play for Brady Smith. Now facing the heart of the order with 2 on and nobody out. Time to go on to the next play.
Dangerous Aaron Shunk at the plate, DH out of Georgia. Infield at double play depth, and the first pitch is fouled off, a stinger off of Shunk's ankle. It's an 0-1 count. Yesterday, no action on the Cape. We were out at beautiful Fenway Park. Scouts Day, so all 10 teams were there at Fenway doing the 60-yard dash, running some infield, outfield drills, and doing some batting practice. Kettleers had 7 home runs over the Green Monster and left. As Shunk steps in for the 0-1, here's the pitch. It's a bit high for ball 1. For Harwich, not sure how many they had as a team, but we were told that Gabe Rivera, their right fielder today, batting 8th, had 5 home runs yesterday over the Green Monster.
Pretty crazy mark. Not one of the first guys you would guess
No.
to punch those all the way out there.
0-2 the count to Shunk. Bonin kicks and deals. It's low and outside. Count runs to 1-2.
You know who my first guess would be if we had to do a Cape League wide? Who would hit the most over the Green Monster? Todd Lott.
Todd Lott, yeah. He would do a nice job. I'm trying to think if I would have a better guess. 1-2 the count. 2 runners on. Here's Bonin's pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Check that. Never mind. Late call coming from Bill Fisher, our home plate umpire. Looked like a foul tip at first. Ended up being a foul tip right into Humphrey's glove. Strike 3, and Bryce Bonin has his first out of the afternoon.
Nice comeback from Bonin there, able to get a good power hitter and Shunk down on strikes. A big first out, and now the infield can try and prime for a double play ball here.
So after that wonderful day at Fenway yesterday, we're back here at Lowell Park. And right now it's Andre Lipsius at the plate. First pitch he sees, set foul, a chopper on the left side, 0-1 the count. 2 days ago, last time here in Cotuit, the Kettleers ran into a buzzsaw of Falmouth 8-1. Falmouth over Cotuit. Adam Lasky, the starting pitcher for the Commodores, was dynamite. 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, just 1 hit, and no runs. And, of course, the Falmouth offense was on its game. Kettleers looking to turn it around here. 0-1 the count, high and outside to Lipsius, ball 1. Harwich coming off of a heartbreaker of their own, but in a much different way. They were on the other side of the canal at Wareham, up 6-2 in the 9th. And then Wareham exploded for 4 runs in the 9th and then walked it off on a wild pitch in the 10th. There's a ball low, 2-1 the count. 3-game losing streak for the Mariners after that walk-off heartbreaker. They're 13-17-1 right now. 2 runners on with 1 out. Mariners threatening for the first time today. At second, Tanner Morris. He's on with a walk. At first is Chris Galland on with a single. 2-1 count. 1 out to Andre Lipsius. Here's Bonin's offering. Good breaking ball. Outside for strike 2. Lipsius, another mainstay in this Harwich offense. First baseman out of Tennessee. A .292 hitter, 3 homers, 16 batted in. He's on a 13-game on-base streak. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch from Bonin, swung on, hammered high and far. Deep into left center field, charging in Tolia. He makes a diving effort, but it gets past him. That'll score a Harwich run as Morris comes home to score. Chris Galland holds up at third. A stand-up double for Andre Lipsius, and it's 1-0 Mariners.
SEC matchup there, and Lipsius out of Tennessee gets the better of Bonin on the mound. Got a hold of a pitch into the left center gap, and a good effort by Michael Tolley in left field to try and come on to dive for it. But he wasn't able to make the play in time, kind of misjudged it. Duke Ellis was also in the vicinity, and they kind of got tangled up with one another. Kettleers fortunate that only 1 run came home to score on that 2-bagger.
League-leading 59th double of the season for Harwich, as Danny Casale steps in and ropes 1 foul. 0-1 count to him. This isn't a Mariners offense with a lot of pop. They're near the bottom in the league in most offensive categories. They've struck out more than anyone with 307 strikeouts. Their 10 home runs are fewest in the league. But this is a double machine with nearly 60 on the season. As the 0-1 comes to Casales, he chops it off foul. A quick 0-2 hole. This is Danny Casales, second baseman out of the University of Maine. A .211 hitter on the season. Casales going from the bottom of the country to the top of the country. From Miami, trekking all the way up to the University of Maine. 0-2 the count, infield in, swung on, again hammered high and deep. Left center field, it's down in the alley. That's going to score 2 Harwich runs. Chris Galland home to score. Here comes Lipsius, he scores. And there's a second consecutive double for Harwich. Casals at second. He drives in 2, and it's 3-0 Mariners just 10 minutes into the ball game.
I believe this is now the 3rd game for sure, maybe 4th game in succession where the Kettleers have given up an early lead in the first inning to their opponent. Falmouth took a 1-0 lead back on Sunday. Hyannis responded with that 3-run first in the win over there on Saturday, and Wareham got the lead over in the bottom of the first inning at Spillane Field. So now 3 games where opposing offenses have really pounced on Cotuit pitchers, and that's really made life troublesome on the mound with the bullpen, and then also at the plate just having to climb that mountain.
1-0 count to Matt Gorski. The Indiana Hoosier sends a sharp ground ball right side, playable for Wood. He scoops and throws to first. A much-needed out number 2. Casals moves 90 feet from second to third. Now 2 outs for Nate Eichhoff. So not the start Bryce Bonin imagined in his first start as a Kettleer, but just 3-0. Plenty of ball game left to be played as Nate Eichhoff, the third baseman, steps in. First pitch he sees, set into left field. Michael Tolia hardly has to move a muscle. He's under it and makes the catch for out number 3. But Harwich strikes first. 3 runs on 2 RBI doubles from Andre Lipsius and Danny Casals. And just like that, it's 3-zip heading into the home half of the first. We'll be back with more here on the Cape Cod Baseball. Welcome back to Lowell Park. Bottom of the first. It's already 3-0 Harwich. They strike for 3 runs on 3 hits with 1 man left on base. RBI doubles from Andre Lipsius and Danny Casals. And the Kettleer lineup will have to come back from this 3-0 deficit. Plenty of time to do it. And here's the lineup today for Mike Roberts. Will Robertson will lead things off. He's back in the leadoff spot. Batting lefty, he'll be in right field today. Michael Tolia is in left field. He bats second, the switch hitter out of UCLA. In the 3-hole, playing first base again, is Thomas Dillard. Batting fourth at second base, Corey Wood. In the DH spot and batting fifth for the first time this season, Garrett Woolforth out of Dallas Baptist. More on him when he comes up. His first start as a Kettleer. Duke Ellis bats in the 6-hole, plays center. Brady Smith, the third baseman, will bat 7th. Mike Salvatore is at shortstop. He bats 8th. And in the 9-hole today is Zach Humphreys, the catcher, out of TCU. They'll face off against Will Matheson, who kicks and deals. First pitch to Robertson. Sent high and deep into left field, coming over Gorski. He makes the catch in the corner for a quick out number 1. So this is Will Matheson out of Stanford. It's his 4th start of the season. He's a big boy, 6'6", 215. A junior out of West Linn, Oregon. His record on the season, 0-1. His ERA, 3.95. His last start back on July 10th against YD. He got rung up for 3 runs on 8 hits. In 5 innings of work, and now Will Matheson, a two-way guy, will face off against Michael Tolia. And Matheson kicks and deals the first pitch fastball. That runs inside. It's an 0-1 count to Tolia. Tolia, the switch hitter, batting from the left side as Matheson sends another fastball and another strike. It's an 0-2 count. So Will Matheson, as I said, a two-way guy, one of the best power hitters for Stanford last season. As he kicks and fires with the 0-2, swung on, ground ball, right side, diving stop by Lipsius. It gets by him. Now backed up by Casals. His throw goes wayward. Michael Tolia is going to run all the way to second. No throw, and Michael Tolia now at second base with one out here in the first. A messy defensive start for Harwich. Andre Lipsius stopped the ball. He wasn't able to corral it. It rolled to the second baseman Casals, who made a wayward throw, gifting Michael Tolia second base with Thomas Dillard coming up.
Yeah, scored that one, a base hit, and then advancing to second on an E4 from the second baseman Danny Casals. Fortunate for Michael Tolia, I thought there might be a play at second base with the catcher Driscoll picking up that ball, backing up first base. Instead, he just sort of juggled it and never was able to make a throw. So the Kettleers with the runner in scoring position and one out.
Here's Thomas Dillard to face Matheson, and he cranks a base hit into right field. One hops into the glove of Rivera. Mike Roberts holds up Tolia at third. So runners on the corners for the Kettleers, already sending a nice offensive response to Harwich. Just one out here in the bottom of the first.
This is what Cotuit needs. Get base runners going, answer back, a 3-run deficit, not the end of the world for sure. Mike Roberts playing conservative there, holding up Tolia on third base. Thought he might have had a chance to score from second. But he's wanting to keep the base runners out there for Corey Wood, who gets a chance here in the cleanup spot, something that we haven't seen from him, the highest he's been in the order this season.
Wood digs in, a lefty, a short lefty against the tall righty Matheson. First pitch fastball dug out low in the dirt for ball one. It's 3-0 Harwich, bottom of the first. Runners on the corners. It's the two veteran Kettleers, Michael Tolia at third and Thomas Dillard at first. Corey Wood at the plate. 1-0 count. Matheson a deep breath. He kicks and deals. Swung on, popped high in the air, left side of the outfield. Coming on in is Gorski, the left fielder. He makes the play. Tolia thought about tagging for a second, but he'll hold up at third. Now 2 outs, still runners on the corners. And the newest Kettleer coming to the plate in Garrett Woolforth. Out of Dallas Baptist, he's the DH today. We'll see him also this season defensively as a catcher. He's been a bullpen catcher for the Kettleers for much of this season. A 6'4", 216-pound senior over at Dallas Baptist from Spring, Texas. He's a switch hitter that'll bat from the left side against Matheson. Garrett Woolforth, his first at-bat as a Kettleer. Runners on the corners here in the first. First pitch he sees, tapped back foul for an 0-1 count. Woolforth, one of the staples of the Dallas Baptist team. He was first team All-Missouri Valley Conference back in 2017. Also a great defensive catcher with Dallas Baptist. He was on the all-defensive team. He's played in summer leagues the last 2 seasons. As he waggles his bat, the 0-1. High arcing breaking ball, too far inside. Good take from Woolforth. And it's a 1-1 count. 2 summers ago, Woolforth was actually here on the Cape, a temporary player for the Bourne Braves. And last year he was with the Eau Claire Express of the Northwoods League. 1-1 the count to Woolforth. Here's Matheson's offering. Fastball zipped in outside. It's ball 2. So Garrett Woolforth, we've seen him in and around Cotuit for about the last 2 or 3 weeks, taking reps at catcher alongside Zach Humphreys, Brady Smith, Eric Jones. Serving as a bullpen catcher, now he gets his first at-bat. 2-1 is grounded foul. It's a 2-2 count. First base coach Paul Widener takes off his cap to pick up that ball. New look for the Kettleers on the base paths today. Usually we have Brady North over at first base, and today fellow assistant Paul Widener opposite Mike Roberts at his perch at third. 2-2 count, 2 outs, runners on the corners for Woolforth. Matheson set, he kicks and deals, swing and a miss, strike 3. Will Matheson gets out of the jam with a strikeout, and it's still 3-0. Harwich on top as we head to the second here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back at it from Lowell Park. It's 3-0 Harwich as we head to the top of the second. Gabe Rivera, Logan Driscoll, and Tanner Morris, the 8-9 and 1 hitters, due up for Harwich to face Bryce Bonin. The Arkansas Razorback sends in a first pitch fastball inside for ball 1. This is Gabe Rivera, the right fielder out of Miami. Rumored that he hit 5 home runs over the Green Monster yesterday. 1-1 swing and a miss. Looked like he was trying to hit that one over some Green Monster. It's a 1-1 count. Really fun day at Fenway. All 10 Cape League teams there doing the workouts in front of the scouts, taking BP. As Bonin kicks and fires, this one swung on, popped high on the right side. Will Robertson, the right fielder, tracking back all the way near the wall, but he makes the catch. That one never in doubt, and there's out number 1.
Good job by Robertson adjusting a little bit. A slight breeze today at Lowell Park. Kind of cloudy, ominous sky overhead. You wonder what's going to happen. Some rain expected to come onto the Cape later this evening, but not to threat this game. About 10 p.m. A good job. That right field spot at Lowell has been kind of tricky with the sun, but that time he was able to adjust and make a catch on a rainbow pop fly.
First pitch to Driscoll inside for ball 1. What was your favorite part of Fenway? I know we went all around, we explored the whole park. 1-1. Liner up the middle, stabbed by Corey Wood. He makes a nice play, and there's the quick out number 2. So back to Fenway.
Yeah, nice play by Corey Wood. I would say that's a great question. I guess I never really thought about it in that regard.
You had to segment it out.
My favorite part would probably be the just old-time feel of it. I thought it was a great feel, and you could just get a sense of the moments that have happened in that stadium, the players that have gone through that stadium. Big Poppy's Grand Slam in the 2013 ALCS, that kind of stuff. Just, you could feel it, and it was really cool to take part in that, and such a great opportunity for these players in the Cape League to play on a field on such a gorgeous day of that caliber is awesome.
1-1 from Bonin to Tanner Morris. Foul tip, it's a 1-2 count. I especially felt that yesterday when we went near the Green Monster in left field, and I was thinking of all the left fielders, the Hall of Fame left fielders, all-star left fielders that have stood there looking so small under that giant wall. As Bonin kicks and deals his 1-2 is a swing and a miss. Strike 3 for Bryce Bonin, and he comes back nicely from a rough first, working a 1-2-3 inning. It's still 3-0 Harwich as we head to the home half of the second here on the Cape Cod Welcome back to Lowell Park. It's 3-0 Harwich as we head to the bottom of the second. A 1-2-3 inning in the top of the frame. Bryce Bonin rebounding nicely from a rough first inning. And it's Duke Ellis to lead things off, and he tags one over to right field. Gabe Rivera in perfect position to make the catch. And there's a quick out number 1. It's Duke Ellis, Brady Smith, and Mike Salvatore. One out here in the second.
From the University of Florida, the third baseman, number 9, Brady Smith.
Here's Brady Smith now, third baseman out of Florida. We've seen him play now 3 positions this season. At catcher, at second base, and today starting third baseman for the Kettleers. Ryan Reynolds out today on his birthday as Brady Smith takes ball 1 high. Happy birthday to Ryan Reynolds. Also happy birthday to Richard Sawyer, one of our trusty dusty Kettleer employees. One of our personal favorites as he takes ball 2 outside. I was told that Richard is celebrating his 25th birthday today.
Sounds right to me. That's right on point.
Here comes the 2-0 to Smith. Little check swing. He makes contact, but it's just a dribble or foul down the first base line, a 2-1 count. A very muggy, hot day here in Cotuit, 81 degrees, very humid, 17-mile-per-hour wind blowing out to left. The American flag out in left field, whipping with the wind as all the green trees dance with it. Some blue skies to the top, a little dark and cloudy around the perimeters with rain coming in later as strike 2 comes in, freezing Brady Smith. Smith, a nice start as a Kettleer, 9 for 24 on the season, 3 batted in and 3 walks. He was one of 7 Kettleers yesterday to put one over the monster at Fenway. But there's strike 3. A good curveball put on the outside part of the plate, freezing Brady Smith again, and there's 2 outs for Will Matheson.
Will Matheson looking pretty strong early for Harwich. Getting ahead of batters in the count. Danced around a couple of base hits in that first inning, and he's been breezing through the Cotuit order so far.
Next up is Salvatore, who takes a strike on the outside corner. 0-1 the count to Salvi with 2 outs. Salvatore, the shortstop out of Florida State. Matheson kicks and deals. Another one on the outside, this time too far outside. It's a 1-1 count. I mentioned Matheson, a two-way player from Stanford, one of their better power hitters. Last season, in a 6-game stretch at the beginning of May, Matheson hit 6 home runs. In those 6 games, he was the Pac-12 Player of the Week, of course. Also the Perfect Game National Player of the Week. So he can do it with the arm, he can do it with the bat. So far today, it's been the arm. Here's his 2-1. Fastball outside, strike 2. A loud strike call from Bill Fisher. Looked like he was ringing up Mike Salvatore. But it's just strike 2, a 2-2 count with 2 outs in the second. Here's the 2-2 pitch, swung on, served up the middle, a base hit into center for Mike Salvatore. That's the 3rd single of the day for Cotuit, and a man on with 2 outs.
Good piece of 2-strike hitting from Salvi there. Took it right back up the middle. Nice little soft line drive that finds a spot in shallow center, and it'll keep the inning alive for Zach Humphreys.
Now Zach Humphreys at the plate, one of the Kettleers' 3 All-Stars alongside Steven Schock and Zach Bierman. That All-Star game will be played at the home of the Mariners at White House Field in Harwich, 6 o'clock on Sunday the 22nd. So Humphrey steps in with the runner at first. Matheson out of the stretch. Here's his first pitch. It's taken for a strike on the inside corner, an 0-1 count. Our umpiring crew today, Bill Fisher behind the plate, Mike Finn at first base, and Ronaldo Cockrum at third. Umpires in the powder blues today. No balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Matheson against Humphreys. Here's Matheson's pitch. Another strike, this time outside, and it's an 0-2 count. 3-0 Harwich leads it early after the Mariners score 3 on 3 hits in the first inning off of Bryce Bonin. Humphreys looking for some offensive hope for the Kettleers. 0-2 the count, 2 outs. Matheson out of the stretch, the tall righty kicks and delivers. This one sweeping outside, ball 1. Steve Englert, the lead man for Harwich, his 16th season. He's been in the Mariners organization since 1998, when I was a 1-year-old, and you were a 0-year-old.
I would have been born in February of '98.
The 1-2, tagged high and far, deep left center field. Gorski going back on the run. He makes the catch right in front of the fence for allowed out number 3. Good contact from Humphreys. But again, the Kettleers strand a runner. No runs on 1 hit, and a man left on base. That was Mike Salvatore. It's still 3-0 Harwich as we head to the 3rd here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Top of the 3rd inning here at Lowell Park in Cotuit. The Kettleers trailing the Harwich Mariners 3-0. As the Mariners will come back to the plate with their heart of the order. 2, 3, and 4 due up. Chris Galland, Aaron Schunk, and Andre Lipsius. Face the right-hander out of Arkansas. Bryce Bonin on for his 3rd inning of work. Deals in a first pitch fastball for strike 1 at the knees. 91 miles an hour for the Razorback, who gave up 3 runs in the first inning, bounced back for a 1-2-3 second. He spikes a fastball at the shins of Galland for ball 1. Mariners with back-to-back doubles in the first. Lipsius an RBI double, followed by a 2-run double from Danny Casals, and just like that, a 3 spot. Cotuit trailing after the first inning for the 3rd consecutive game this season. 2-1 is hit in the air on a line to deep left field. That ball will drop in near the wall. It is a leadoff double for Chris Galland standing up, and the Mariners cooking once again. Galland on board for the 2nd time today, and he'll be in scoring position for Aaron Schunk.
It's so interesting. That's about all Harwich does offensively. They crank out doubles to the corners, to the alleys, any which way. They came in with 58, now 61, leading the Cape by far. And Bryce Bonin might need to go with some more finesse around the edges. That one was right over the heart of the plate.
First pitch inside for ball 1 on Aaron Schunk. 3rd baseman out of the University of Georgia. Chris Galland on second base, the leadoff double. 3-0 Harwich here in the 3rd. Bonin out of Arkansas comes set, open out of the stretch, now to the plate. The 1-0, chopped over towards 3rd. Smith charging on. He'll make the throw to first in time. The relay back to 3rd from Dillard. Sliding in Galland, safe is the call. And the runner will advance on a 5-3 putout. And that runner in Chris Galland looks to be shaken up after a headfirst slide. Laying on his left side, and now the 3rd base coach for Harwich signaling to the dugout for their athletic trainer. Helmet off of Galland, you hope he's okay. 5-3 the putout from Smith, and then Dillard at first base tried to fire back over to 3rd and get the runner in Galland, who advanced late. He gets in safe, but an injury concern now.
Looks like they're taking a look at his left arm. Something on the slide, maybe making some awkward contact with the bag. It was good base running from Chris Galland, waiting for the throw to be sent in the air, and then he just took off. Barely beating out the throw, and he's sitting up now. Looks like he'll be okay, but definitely the arm's shaken up. We'll see if he can stay in the game.
He's now sitting upright. Tended to by the trainer, his manager Steve Englert, the 3rd base coach. And he'll rise to his feet, helmet off. And it looks like he'll walk back to the Mariners' first base dugout a little woozy. You hope for the best for Chris Galland out of Boston College. who will probably be lifted from this game now for a substitute on the base paths as he starts to jog back towards the visiting dugout. See who emerges from the Harwich dugout as a substitute base runner. One out here in the third, 3-0 Harwich. A runner on third, and it will be a pinch runner now to substitute for the injured Chris Galland. Ben Norman, an outfielder out of Iowa, will come on and be the base runner just 90 feet from home, and Andre Lipsius at the plate. So Norman comes on to substitute Galland, injured on that last slide. Lipsius the batter. First pitch from Bonin, tailed high in the air, down the left field line. Extra bases once again for Harwich. Norman comes home to score. Andre Lipsius strikes again, his second RBI double of the day, and it's 4-0 Harwich here in the third.
Well, this is just a doubles clinic right now, isn't it? 4 doubles already. They've scored 4 runs. And I mean, they're telling them all to the left side. All of the doubles have been either between Tolia and Ellis in left center or to the left of Tolia down that line. Just putting on a hitting clinic right now.
Andre Lipsius, his second RBI double of the day. 4-0 Mariners here at Lowell Park, and the Kettleers looking to stop the bleeding. First pitch from Bonin, outside for ball 1 on Danny Casals, a man who had the 2-run double back in the first. He comes to the plate with a runner in scoring position in Lipsius, trying to replicate what they did the last time. Bonin's 1-0. Little high sprayed fly ball towards straightaway center. Ellis will jog in and make the catch for out number 2.
This is sort of reminiscent so far to the last time these two teams got together at Lowell Park back on June 26th. It was a 10-3 win for Harwich, and 3 innings in, the Mariners had already scored 3 runs on 4 hits, and 3 of those 4 hits were extra bases, 2 doubles, a triple, and a single. So this hot start for Mariners offense that has been off and on this season, kind of reminiscent of that.
Runner on second, 2 outs, and a 4-0 Harwich lead. Another fastball that misses low and in from Bryce Bonin, and a 1-0 count to Matt Gorski. Outfielder from Indiana University, 0 for 1 on the day, grounded to second his first time up. Bonin set, the 1-0 delivery. Big swing and a miss. Pulled the string on him, a nice slider at 83 miles an hour on the outside corner. Gorski at 6'3", native of Fishers, Indiana, in the suburbs of Indianapolis. Bats from the right side with the stirrups, the gray pants, the navy road template for Harwich. The 1-1 from Bonin. Big cut and a miss. That time the fastball blown by him on the outer half of the plate. 1-2 count. Advantage to the man from Arkansas on the mound. Lipsius on second. His RBI double has extended the Harwich lead. 4-0 here in the third. 2 outs and a 1-2 count. Bonin, intense look. Now the 1-2. Little breaking ball punched through the right side for a base hit. Runner churning around third. Lipsius will come home to score. An RBI single with 2 outs for Matt Gorski. And Harwich all over Cotuit, 5-0 with 2 outs in the third.
That was really good hitting from Gorski. See ball, hit ball. It was way high and outside. He decided to take a swing anyway, but made contact so well, just poking it through. A slow roller was definitely enough to score the run. That was good fundamental hitting from Gorski, a pitch that, had he not swung at it, would have been a ball, but took advantage and got the run to give Harwich a 5-0 lead.
Now Nate Eichhoff, who pounces on one, fouling it back straight to the fence behind home plate. Gorski, the RBI single with 2 outs. Just able to sneak it past a diving Thomas Dillard on the right side of the infield. And Harwich sending the runner home in Lipsius, who scored for the second time today, and just like that, 5-0 Mariners. 0-2 count now on Eichhoff as he swings and misses through a good changeup. Jerry Weinstein, Cotuit pitching coach, comes out from the third base dugout, and now he'll ask for time. Bill Fisher, the home plate umpire, grants that, and it looks like an injury problem for Bryce Bonin. Craig Moody, the athletic trainer for the Kettleers, also accompanying Weinstein. And they're going to take a look at the right-hander out of Arkansas here. And now Jerry Weinstein signaling to his bullpen. That should be the day for Bryce Bonin. In his first start of the season, just his second appearance for the Cotuit Kettleers, going 2 2/3 innings, allowing 5 runs on 6 hits, a man on that he's responsible for in Matt Gorski, and perhaps an injury here to prompt an early exit as pitching coach Jerry Weinstein signals to the bullpen. Craig Moody and Bonin will walk off together towards the home dugout at third base. And the Kettleers make an early pitching change. Harwich with 2 home here in this 3rd inning. We'll get you the new Kettleer arm when we come back on the other side of this break. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park in Cotuit. A tough day at the office so far for the homestanding Kettleers, down 5-0 against the visiting Harwich Mariners here in the top of the 3rd inning. 2 outs, a runner on first base, and an 0-2 count on Nate Eichhoff, and a new pitcher on board for Cotuit. That's it for Bryce Bonin, the right-hander out of Arkansas, going 2 2/3 innings, allowing 5 runs on 6 hits. He walked the first batter of the game and struck out 2. Looked like he exited the game with an injury. Not exactly sure what. There wasn't anything obvious or apparent before he exited the ball game. It was Jerry Weinstein, the pitching coach, who came out of the dugout along with Craig Moody, the trainer. They took a quick look at him and immediately signaled to the bullpen. Might have been something on his throwing hand, a finger. Hard for us to tell from our vantage point, but an early day and a tough day for Bryce Bonin as the starter here for Cotuit.
Yeah, it didn't seem like something where Bonin was signaling to the dugout, hey, I'm hurt. But Jerry Weinstein, maybe Craig Moody also, clearly saw something. Bonin didn't necessarily look right. This is a really good young pitcher. Last time against Hyannis, when he came on in relief, he looked excellent, has great control. From the first few pitches of the ball game, they were all balls, trailing way inside. You could tell something was off. So I guess it is some sort of injury. We certainly hope he's okay. Now it's up to Ryan Smith to try and hold down the fort.
The new pitcher is indeed Ryan Smith, the left-hander out of Princeton University, 5'10", 165 pounds. The rising senior who hails from Garden City, New York, will come on. Inheriting a base runner with 2 outs, an 0-2 count here in the top of the 3rd against Nate Eichhoff, who now bats from the left side. And before we even throw another pitch to the batter, it's Smith who checks on Gorski at first. The little lefty will look in for a sign with his battery mate Zach Humphreys. 2 already home in this inning for Harwich. The 0-2, breaking pitch in the dirt outside. A good block from Zach behind the plate. 1-2 now to Eichhoff. RBI double from Lipsius, his second of the day, and then the 2-out base knock from Gorski, scoring 2 more runs for the Mariners here in the 3rd. Dark skies overhead here at Lowell Park with the wind blowing. Swing and a miss on the 1-2 offering. Ryan Smith comes in and just needs 2 pitches to finish off. Nate Eichhoff at the plate. A strikeout to end this 3rd inning, but Harwich comes back with 2 more runs. Lipsius, Gorski getting on the party once again. As we head to the home after the 3rd, Cotuit will try and respond down 5-0 here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of 3 in the first for Harwich and 2 more in the top of the 3rd. And the top of the order trying to respond. Matheson, the big righty, out of the stretch with Robertson taking his lead at first. From the stretch, change up low and away for ball 1 on Michael Tolia. Left fielder out of UCLA who singled on his first time up and advanced to second on a throwing error. Chance to generate some offense here with the leadoff man aboard. Matheson kicks and deals. Fastball on the outside corner, called for a strike to even the count. Big crowd here at Lowell Park. Third base grandstand filled up as usual. And the first base side also. Plenty of folks on hand to watch the Kettleers take on the Mariners on this Tuesday afternoon. The 1-1 offering. Hit off foul on the left side, back towards the parking lot. And Matheson takes the 1-2 advantage.
Ladies' Day at Lowell Park.
That's right.
A lot of ladies in the crowd. I think all ladies at the game got a free brownie from a local bakery, and then they get to enter in all these special raffles throughout the game.
The 1-2 to Tolia. Off the plate, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ladies' Day, of course, orchestrated by the great Don Lassier, our intern coordinator, one of the Kettleers board members. A great schedule of events here at Lowell Park this summer. Ladies' Day today. Plenty of prizes involved if they decide to enter into a drawing as Tolia swings and misses at a big fastball upstairs. He got big eyes but wasn't able to connect. And Matheson registering his third strikeout of the game. That's out number 1 here in the home half of 3.
Yeah, it's bustling out there. It was camp day 2, so all the kids participating in the Kettleers youth clinics, which run every morning throughout the season, all of them were honored on the field before the game, so a lot of them are here. Ladies' Day, just a nice day for a ball game, so good to see such a big crowd.
Matheson's first pitch to Thomas Dillard, who steps in off the plate for ball 1. TD comes up with a runner on first baseman Robertson, who led off the inning with a full count single. He takes his lead, jabbing his front right foot and hopping off the bag as Dillard skies one towards straightaway center field. Gallen camped under it, 5 points to catch for out number 2. Back into the infield, but not a problem as the fielder and Danny Casals covers. 2 away, and now Corey Wood to the plate. Cotuit in a 5-0 hole to start this ball game, bottom of the 3rd inning. Couple of base runners left in the first, 1 left in the second. And Robertson on first here in the bottom of 3, 2 outs, and Corey Wood, the left-handed second baseman, at the plate. First pitch fastball over the heart of the plate from Matheson, 0-1 count. Cloudy, overcast skies. Slight wind, very muggy in the 80s as we started this one. Matheson at 6'6", looks in. Now to the plate. His 0-1, tailed towards center field. That'll get down for a base knock. Corey Wood with his first hit of the ball game, and that will extend the Cotuit home half of the 3rd. 2 runners on, 2 outs, and now Garrett Woolforth with his big opportunity here at home.
Yeah, so what are we learning here? Will Matheson is definitely hittable. 5 hits so far for the Kettleers, all singles. He's not a guy who's going to blow you away. His numbers on the season don't blow me away. He's a solid pitcher, but clearly he's hittable. It's time for some timely hitting, though. Down 5-0, 2 runners on. Even though it's early, the Kettleers need to scrap a run out of this inning.
Big chance for Garrett Woolforth in his 2018 Kettleers debut. First pitch from Matheson, way outside for ball 1. Wood, the 2-out base hit, extending the inning. He's on first, Robertson on second. Woolforth at the plate, catcher by way of Dallas Baptist University. Coming in as a temporary player, he's scrapped his way to an activated player on the roster, taking a changeup low and in for ball 2. Came up to Cotuit, bullpen catcher. Worked hard with Jerry Weinstein, Coach Mike Roberts, who both have catching expertise in their background. And with the departure of Eric Jones leaving Cotuit for a torn labrum surgery, it opened up a spot, and here's Woolforth, his second at-bat of the day. The 2-0 hammered high in the air, deep to right field, but that ball will hook foul. Boy, did he get some good lumber on that, and it could have been a 2-run ball game.
Oh, he tagged that one. He's got some pop. We've been watching him in VP. Pete Flaherty, one of our GM scout liaisons who we had on our broadcast last week, has been telling me the last 2 weeks that this guy Woolforth has a lot of pop in BP. Put one over the monster yesterday. And he's a hard worker. Coach Roberts said before the game, this is probably the hardest working guy on the team. So awesome to see him finally getting his chance.
A 2-1 count with 2 outs. I beg your pardon. 2-0 is a looping curveball high for ball 3. 3-1 the count. Woolforth, the switch hitter. Bats from the left side here. High socks, pinstripe home uniform, the white Franklin batting gloves. Both runners take their leads. Kettleers in need of a big spark, down by 5. Matheson kicks and deals. Fastball hammered back foul towards the parking lot. Five early runs for Harwich. Cotuit looking for an answer. Garrett Woolforth in his Kettleer debut with 2 runners on, a 3-2 count, and 2 outs. Matheson comes set at the belt. The big right-hander comes to the plate. Swing and a miss. He got him on a changeup. And that will retire the side. So the Kettleers, no runs on 2 hits, no errors, and they strand 2 more. As we head to the 4th, Harwich in control, 5-0. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleer Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Team, Mason Horodiski, who's standing by. Mason?
Thanks, guys. If one thing has been a constant for the Kettleers these past few games, it's giving up leads early. The past 3 games have seen the Kettleers fall to an advantage, and unlike today, obviously like today as well, with that 3-run first inning. Not only is that demoralizing from a scoreboard point of view, but also from a morale point of view, rather, when you have to dig yourself out of a hole instead of starting on an equal playing field. If you're not able to answer back from early leads, it's going to make for a long day out on the diamond, and with playoffs right around the corner, things like that are brutal. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Mason, as Harwich looks to build on that early lead, starting to pile it on Cotuit today. That's the 4th double from Gabe Rivera, who starts off this inning. The 4th Harwich double, a leadoff one. Check that, 5 leadoff doubles.
It's hard to keep track right now.
Crazy. The Mariners all over Cotuit here. Top of 4, runner on second, nobody out, and a 1-0 count on Logan Driscoll, the catcher. George Mason, who bats from the left side. The lefty Ryan Smith winds up. The 1-0, hit hard foul back behind the Kettleers' kitchen and onto the top of the batting cage netting there. A 1-1 count. So Rivera with the 5th Harwich double of the day to right center field on the first pitch of this frame. He takes his lead at second. Salvatore, the shortstop, shading towards him to cover the bag. 1-1. Off speed, that's just on the outside corner for strike 2. Driscoll at the plate, 0 for 1 on the day. Lined out hard to second base. Corey Wood making a nice stab. Back in the second inning. Smith from the stretch. Looks back at the runner, now to the plate. The 1-2 is upstairs, that'll even the count. So Ryan Smith out of the bullpen, we've seen him in a myriad of situations this season, but not this early, as Bryce Bonin exits this game as a starter, only going 2 2/3. The lefty out of Princeton kicks and deals. His 2-2 grounded into the hole at short, just off the backhand glove of Mike Salvatore, who's able to improvise on the run and throw to third. The tag applied by Brady Smith to get the lead runner in Rivera. How about Mike Salvatore, quick on his feet? Out number 1 as the runner reaches first.
That was a nifty little idea. He bobbles it. He was all the way to the left anyway. If he tried to turn and throw across his body, there's no way he would have beaten the runner. So just flip it off to third to get the leading runner. Nice play from Salvi.
It just went off the heel of his backhand pick as the leadoff man and Chris Gallen lines one toward right field. Diving effort from Will Robertson. How about that defensive play? Back-to-back, Salvi at short and Robertson crashing in from right. And just like that, 2 down here in the 4th.
Yeah, Will Robertson's made some nice defensive plays as of late. Saw him make a really nice one against Hyannis the other day. Now Steve Englert is going to trot out and talk to third base umpire Reynaldo Cochran. Looked like Robertson, it was kind of a bang-bang call as to whether he caught it or it bounced into his glove, and looks like Steve Englert wants to talk about it.
Englert in his 16th season in charge of Harwich. Reynaldo Cochran, the third base umpire, out there having a say, and now he's going to motion in for the rest of his umpiring crew. He might have this call under review here. It was a falling line drive to right field, and Robertson dove in, made the catch. There wasn't an official signal right away, and then the runner just sort of retreated back to first base and Driscoll. And they do indeed confirm that out is the call. So an F9 from leadoff man Tanner Morris. 2 down here in the fourth as Driscoll, who's on first base with a 6-5 fielder's choice. Of course, Salvatore, who looked to make an errant backhand pick deep in the hole at short, was able to fire onto third and get a tag out of the lead runner for the first out of the inning. Now Ben Norman, center fielder from Iowa, who came on in the last frame as a substitute runner for Chris Galland, who got injured sliding into third. He's ahead in the count 2-0 on Smith. 5-zip, Mariners on top of the Kettleers here in the fourth. Runner on first is Driscoll. Takes a modest lead as a 2-0. Hit in the air foul on the left side out of play. Youngsters will go parading after it as that one lands behind one of the cars in the grass, and everybody's scurrying for it, trying to figure out if it went under a car or not. Let the treasure hunt begin. Big fan and a miss there from Norman at the plate. 89-mile-an-hour heater from Smith on the mound to even the count 2-2. Here at Lowell Park, Kettleers faithful looking on as Ryan Smith comes set. From the stretch, he'll throw over to first and check on Driscoll. Brady Smith, the third baseman, playing a little closer towards the grass. Middle infield duo of Salvatore and Wood. It's Norman at the plate here. The 2-2 offering. Hit hard through the left side of the infield for a base hit. So Harwich tallying their 8th hit of the ball game. Keeping this fourth inning alive with 2 outs. Ben Norman, a single. And now number 3 batter Aaron Shunk will come to the plate.
It's been a hitting clinic for Harwich today. And every time they come to Lowell Park this season, it just seems like that's the name of the game. I remember last time they were here end of June, they scored 10 runs in that 10-3 win. They came in totally limping. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but it was single-digit runs in their last 4 games coming in combined.
2 on for Aaron Shunk, who hits one hard right up the box, a single into center field. Driscoll speeding into home. He comes to score standing up. A throw into second base, and Norman able to slide back in safely as he thought about taking third. Nevertheless, Aaron Shunk continues the Mariners' hit parade. 6-0 on the 2-out RBI single. So the run comes home to score from second and Logan Driscoll. And now make it 3 out of the 4 innings played in which Harwich has scored. They've got 1 home here in the fourth. Andre Lipsius, the batter, and he sends a fly ball that'll get down into right field, a base hit. Coming around third base to score is Norman. Back-to-back RBI singles with 2 outs. Lipsius with his 3rd RBI hit of the day, and it's all Harwich here in the fourth, 7-0.
Yeah, this one is taking a big turn for the worse, and it was the doubles, those hits in the gap the first time around. Here, 3 consecutive singles, all with 2 outs, and that's been another frustrating theme as of late. We've seen a lot of runs given up with 2 outs for the Kettleers. And this time, Ryan Smith was so close to getting out of the inning, and then 3 consecutive singles. And now it's turned into a bit of a rout.
Here's Danny Casals, who takes a breaking pitch off the plate for ball 1. First and third with 2 outs. A little rally for the Mariners, bringing in 2 more. 7-0. Casals at the plate. He takes another breaking ball low, 2 balls and no strikes. Harwich, not an offensive juggernaut. Pitching is where they make their bread and butter. A 3.44 earned run average is second best in the Cape. Their 241 team batting average, 7th in the league. Snappy pick from Ryan Smith on the mound to try and get the runner at first in Casals, but nothing doing.
So last time they were here when they scored 10 runs, it was 3 runs in their last 4 games combined coming in. Then they exploded for 10 runs. Here they kind of limped in with that 3-game losing streak. They've been scoring a little more. Wasn't quite as drastic as that last stretch. But still, feels like they're letting it all out offensively.
The 3-0 to Casals, fouled back on the right side. Harwich trying to get a terrible loss out of their system. That was against Wareham a couple of days ago. An extra inning defeat. They lost in 10, 7-6, blowing a 6-2 lead in the 9th. The 3-1, Casals hits it hard, right up the middle, and another base hit. Make it 3 consecutive 2-out singles as the run comes home to score in Shunk, and Harwich is having a day, 8-0 here in the 4th.
Wow, 4 consecutive singles, now 8 runs on 11 hits, and we aren't even halfway through the 4th inning of this game. Just an offensive explosion, and for the Kettleers, more of the same from their last game against Falmouth, the 8-1 loss, and this one could get even uglier.
That's ugly there. Ryan Smith, a breaking ball that would have hit ahead of a left-handed batter. It sails over the other batter's box and behind the backstop. Both runners move up into scoring position with 2 outs. And pitching coach Jerry Weinstein will trot out of the dugout, have a mound visit with his left-handed reliever and try and get things back in check. Infield will come in as well. Came into today's ball game, Kettleers wanted a quality start from Bryce Bonin, who came out with an injury after going 2 2/3, allowing 5 runs. 3 more are home here in the 4th for Harwich, all of them coming with 2 outs. And it looks like it's going to be another long day for pitching coach Jerry Weinstein and his bullpen. They're hoping to maybe eat up a quality start from Bryce Bonin to save some arms, but it looks like a lot of people will have to come out and an 8-0 deficit already. 1-0 pitch to Gorski, fastball high and away.
It's going to be a bullpen day. And Ryan Smith taking these early to middle innings. They'll have to platoon it from now on. And of course, Harwich again tomorrow. So it'll be a totally different set of arms.
Down the left field line past Smith at third base. Both runs will come home to score. Gorski wheeling around, standing up into second. A 2-out double. Make it 5 runs for Harwich with 2 outs here in this 4th inning. A 10-0 ball game.
Wow, this one turned really quickly. It was already 5-0, of course, but with 2 outs after a flyout, the nice diving catch by Will Robertson. After back-to-back good defensive plays, Salvatore's play, Robertson's play, looked like Smith would get out of the inning unscathed. But these 5 runs coming in on 5 hits.
Eichhoff, a soft little bloop single into right, and Gorski will score from third. 6 runs home for Harwich here in the 4th, all with 2 outs. Lowell Park can't believe it. And this time, Nate Eichhoff from Virginia getting in on the scoring act.
I mean, it's just a hitting barrage right now. Anything these Harwich hitters are seeing, they're tagging to any part of the field, whether it's a double in the gap, a double to the corners, a little bloop single, or ground ball. They've hit them every which way except for out of the park.
Ground ball to shortstop. Salvatore charging on. That'll get out of the inning. Harwich, 6 runs here in the 4th, all with 2 outs, as Cotuit will try and find something on offense. Coming up next, bottom of the 4th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 4th inning, and Cotuit is down 11-0 against the Harwich Mariners. Duke Ellis, Brady Smith, and Mike Salvatore to try and get something going against right-hander Will Matheson. He's allowed 5 hits through 3 frames today as he deals in ball 1. But the damage being done in the last frame. Harwich a 6 spot on 7 hits. They only left 1 man. All 6 runs driven in with 2 outs. As Lowell Park in abject silence here in Cotuit. Duke Ellis leading things off, trying to get something going as he takes a 1-1 up at the letters. 2 balls and a strike. Mike Roberts, head coach, down at third base, arms folded. Paul Widener, the new first base coach, at his perch, replacing Brady North for the moment. There's a backwards K, strikeout looking, a curveball on the outside corner for out 1.
Of course, this game's gone off the rails a little bit from how the Kettleers imagined it. I mean, 11-0 here in the 4th. At this point, playing to win the ball game isn't really a possibility. You want to play for pride. You know, you have your home crowd here. It's a good crowd on hand. You want to get some momentum towards this back third of the season. So just any momentum you can gather here in this next part of the game would be certainly ideal.
First pitch to Brady Smith, up and in for a ball. 1 out in the bottom of 4. Kettleers down 11-0. Matheson's 1-0. Another fastball that'll dip outside for ball 2. Smith on the day, 0 for 1. Strikeout looking his first time up back in the 2nd inning. Harwich have stormed in here on the road and bossed this game up 11-0, scoring 3 in the first, 2 in the second, and they stamped on 6 in the 4th. Chasing Bryce Bonin out of this game after 2 2/3 innings, Ryan Smith. A disastrous 4th after he retired 2 batters and 6 came in. The 2-1 to Smith, hit high in the air, foul out of play on the right side. Paul Widener, new first base coach today. It's always been Brady North down there at first, but Widener, who was throwing batting practice yesterday at Fenway Park in Boston, from Bethel College in Minnesota, coming out to the Cape to assist Mike Roberts on the staff. Curveball is outside to run the count full on Smith.
Of course, it's cool for the batters to take BP, but equally for Paul Widener throwing BP at Fenway Park. Not everyone gets that chance.
Full count pitch, high and tight fastball for ball 4. So Brady Smith will jog on down to first. And the Kettleers have another base runner for the 4th inning today. They have not been able to bring anybody home, but the 1-out walk to Smith will give Mike Salvatore a chance.
It was fun yesterday at Fenway watching all the guys not compete with each other, but kind of compete with themselves over if they could hit it over the monster or not. A lot of them, like Mike Salvatore, who's at the plate right now, is very focused on that one goal. He had a few that came just about 3 or 4 feet shy. But it was fun to watch these guys compete and try to hit it over the Green Monster. It's called the Green Monster for a reason. Hard to hit over it.
1-0 count on Salvi with a man on. 1 out here in the bottom of 4. Hard hit ball into the gap, left center field. Salvi might have extra bases as Smith will speed into third. Mike Roberts will hold him there. The throw off the bag at second. A 1-out double. Mike Salvatore to give the Kettleers 2 in scoring position.
That's what I'm talking about with some momentum. Just show that you can stroke it. Let's see which individuals step up in these kind of moments. And Mike Salvatore now 2 for 2 today, and he's been a guy who's impressed me from the dish as of late. That win against Hyannis, the 9-5 win back on July 14th, just a couple days ago. He had the first 3 RBIs in that ball game, a single, a double, a fielder's choice. He's been seeing the ball well and already has a nice web gem today.
Runners on second and third with 1 out, and the Kettleers trying to chip into an 11-run deficit at the bottom of the 4th. All-star Zach Humphreys at the plate. Fastball, called strike off the plate for strike 1. Top of the order awaits Will Robertson, the leadoff man on deck. Humphreys, the number 9 batter, standing in 0 for 1 with a fly out to right field his first time up. Matheson at 6'6", towering on the mound. Comes set, closed off out of the stretch. Now to the plate. 0-1 is a curveball up and away to even the count. The Kets have mustered up 6 hits in 3+ innings against Will Matheson, but unable to drive any base runners home. Great opportunity for Zach Humphreys with 2 in scoring position. They take their leads. Matheson set, his 1-1. Curveball, tomahawked in the air towards shallow left field. Gorski coming onto it. He'll make the catch, the throw onto home plate at 1 hop as both runners will stay home. 2 down in the 4th.
Down the order with the Kettleers, right fielder number 8. Lord, Will Robertson.
Will Robertson, the batter. 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position. Mike Salvatore's 1-out double, allowing Brady Smith to move up to 3rd. Robertson at the plate, singled his last time up in the 3rd inning. Trying to bring home the first Kettleer runs of the day, down 11-0 against Harwich at home. The right-hander out of Stanford, Will Matheson, deals in a slider off the plate for ball 1. Matheson in 2018, a two-way player for Stanford, pitched in 13 games, going 18 innings out of the bullpen, a 2-1 record with a 2 flat earned run average. Swing and a miss on a good slider outside that Robertson was unable to connect with, a 1-1 count. The 1-1. Got him on the same pitch, swinging. 1-2.
Something interesting about Matheson's family, his grandmother is the #1 ranked tennis player in the world for her age group.
Yep.
In the world.
In the world.
That's pretty cool.
And now is that, I assume she's a senior, if I had to infer.
Well, it's her grandmother.
Yeah. The 1-2, skied in the air, foul territory on the right side. It will be beyond the fence and out of play. That's pretty darn good. And tennis is one of those leisure sports that you see being played around the country. Great draw. Wimbledon is now, right?
I think it just finished.
Just finished.
Djokovic won, and I know Serena didn't win on the women's side. I think she was upset. I forget the name. I'm not a big tennis fan, as you can tell.
The 1-2 is high and tight on the left-handed batter, Robertson.
However, a quick shout-out to my mom, Rita Brief. I don't know if she's #1 in the world for her age group, but she's near the top of the class in her area. Excellent tennis player.
Robertson hits one high in the air with the 2-2 count. Shallow right field. Casals, the second baseman, makes an over-the-shoulder catch. And that will end the Cotuit threat here in the bottom of the 4th inning. No runs on 1 hit, 2 left in scoring position as we head to the 5th. 11-0 Harwich here at Lowell Park. We'll be back in a moment. This is Cotuit Kettleers baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome back to Lowell Park. It's 11-0. Harwich on top of the Kettleers here in the 5th. The Mariners just exploding. 11 runs on 13 hits. And it's a rout at Lowell Park as Ryan Smith returns for the 5th. He'll work this inning against Logan Driscoll, Tanner Morris, and Ben Norman. Sam and Sam here in the broadcast booth. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a pleasant Tuesday afternoon wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Thanks for spending it with us. Here's a high fly ball tagged from Driscoll. Left side of the infield. Smith calling everyone off. And he makes the catch for out number 1. Alrighty, 5th inning trivia time here on our broadcast. And we're going to focus on Mike Matheny, a 1990 Cotuit Kettleer out of Michigan. He recently saw his tenure as St. Louis manager come to an end with the Cardinals organization. And prior to managing, Mike was a very successful Major League catcher for about 12 seasons. And he's one of just 6 catchers in MLB history to go a season of 100-plus games without committing an error. So our question today, which other catcher joins Matheny on this list? And that's the question. One of 6 catchers to go a full season of 100-plus games without committing a single error. One of these 4 guys joins Matheny on the list. First, the 1-2 count from Smith to Morris. Swing and a miss, low and away, strike 3. And there's a quick 2 outs for Ryan Smith. So here's the 4 options for you. Head over to our Twitter to answer. Is it A, Yan Gomes of the Cleveland Indians, B, James McCann of the Detroit Tigers, C, Yadier Molina of the St. Louis Cardinals, or D, A.J. Przinsky of the Chicago White Sox? One of those guys is on the list with Mike Matheny of a catcher to go a full season without an error. Sam, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Yachty, C.
Yachty, okay.
Yeah, I think
quick.
that's
Very
an
quick.
easy guess on my end. If I get it wrong, I'll look cocky, but I think that's child's play right there.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're just going Yachty because he's the best.
I'm going
Best
with
on the
Yachty. Now, you did throw in Przinsky, who was a White Sox and a pretty decent defensive catcher, and I considered him for a second. Gomes is an offensive catcher for sure. I'm not going with McCann. Yachty is a Gold Glover and one of the best to ever play as far as a defensive catcher goes. Parallels with Matheny, so I'm going to go with Yadier Molina,
right.
C.
Yadier Molina, that's what I will guess on Twitter in honor of you. And out there, you can guess on Twitter at Cotuit Kettleers. Here's the 1-2 to Norman, tagged into left field. Tolia back, he makes the over-the-shoulder catch for out number 3. A much-needed 1-2-3 inning for the Kettleers, but it's still 11-0 Harwich, heading into the home half of the 5th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Come back. Let's do it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Back here at Lowell Park, still 11-0 Harwich over Cotuit, bottom of the 5th. And Michael Tolia coming up for the Kettleers. Thomas Dillard and Corey Wood will follow him in this inning. Last inning for the Kettleers, they got no runs on 1 hit and 2 men left on base as they trail 11-0. No runs on 6 hits for Cotuit, 11 runs on 13 hits for Harwich. Will Matheson on for this inning. And first pitch to Tolia is a breaking ball outside, a 1-0 count. Fans, head over to our Twitter page at Cotuit Kettleers. Answer our trivia question today about former Kettleer Mike Matheny, who just saw his tenure as the St. Louis Cardinals manager come to an end. Our question focuses on his catching career. He was one of 6 catchers in Major League history to go an entire season of 100-plus games without an error. So who joins him on that list? High fly ball to left off the bat of Tolia, tracked down and caught by Matt Gorski for the first out of the inning. The 4 options for you are A. Jan Gomes out of Cleveland, B. James McCann out of Detroit, C. Yadier Molina out of St. Louis, or D. A.J. Pierzynski, Chicago White Sox. Sam guessing Yadier Molina. We will reveal the answer, see if Sam is right or wrong. In the top of the 8th inning, early reports with precincts reporting say Yadier Molina in the lead with 71% of the votes, as Thomas Dillard takes a strike on the inside corner. An 0-1 count to Dilly with 1 out. Thomas Dillard 1 for 2 today with a flyout and a single, as Matheson kicks and deals. His 0-1 is outside, ball 1. 1-1 the count, 1 out. No one on for the Kettleers. Again down 11-0 as the Mariners just poured it on in the first 4 innings. 3 runs in the first off of 2 RBI doubles from Lipsius and Casals. No runs in the second, a 1-2-3 inning from Bryce Bonin. But then 2 in the third and 6 in the fourth. And this game has been broken open 11-0. It's a 2-1 count right now with 1 out to Thomas Dillard. He's 4th on the Cape with 18 runs scored this season. Will Robertson right in front of him with 19. And now a full count to Dilly. So back to that trivia question, Sam. You went with your gut, Yadier Molina. This year, when you go with your gut, you're 0 for 1. As the 3-2 comes in, outside, ball 4. And there's a walk for Dilly. Your gut hasn't treated you well this year, but you're trusting it here.
I'm trusting it here. I think I'd be thinking too hard if I went with anybody but Yachty.
Okay.
Jan Gomes is a bat, not a glove, in my opinion. And I think that if I mess up there, then I deserve it.
We'll see. Stay tuned for the 8th inning. We'll reveal the answer as Corey Wood digs in. Takes a swing at the first pitch he sees, sends a fly ball to left. Matt Gorski tracks it down and makes the catch for out number 2. That's 2 flyouts to left field and 2 outs here in the 5th for Garrett Woolforth, the newest Kettleer, just activated this morning. He's been in Cotuit for the last 2 weeks as a bullpen catcher, but with Eric Jones leaving the Cape to get surgery on a labrum, Woolforth activated on the official roster and getting his first at-bats today, his 3rd time at the plate with a runner on first. As Matheson, out of the stretch, kicks and deals, breaking ball in the zone for strike 1. If you missed our initial introduction of Garrett Woolforth, let us introduce you to him now. He's a catcher out of Dallas Baptist, a tall switch hitter at 6'4", 216. This is his 2nd season on the Cape. 2 years ago, he was a temp player with the Bourne Braves. 0-1 to Woolforth, and he swings through it for a quick 0-2 count. He was a Cleveland Indians draft selection out of high school in 2015, but electing to go to Dallas Baptist. And he's got an 0-2 count with the runner on first. Will Matheson out of Stanford will kick and deal, swung on, tapped foul straight back, a screamer over the press box. It's an 0-2 count. Woolforth has some nice baseball and softball lineage in his family. His father played at Sam Houston State and is the founder of the Texas Baseball Ranch, which is a very widely used baseball training center down in Texas. It's been featured in ESPN, Sports Illustrated. As the 0-2 comes in, it's tapped to the second baseman, Casals. He high points it and throws to first for out number 3. Again, the Kettleers get a base runner, but they're still down 11-0 as we head to the 6th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Top of the sixth inning, and Cotuit down 11-0 against the visiting Harwich Mariners. Ryan Smith will be back out on the mound for inning number 3 of full work as a left-hander from Princeton will try and eat up some work here against Aaron Shunk, third baseman out of Georgia, who leads things off. First pitch down and away for ball 1. Andre Lipsius on deck, Danny Casals in the hole, as this middle of the order has done a lot of damage today for Harwich. Flinging bat, swing and a miss on the 1-0 pitch, and that bat lodged in between the chain links of the fence right by the Kettleers' third base dugout as Shunk just let it fly, waving through a fastball. Now it looks like Harry, one of our bat boys, is
Harry,
it loose. That's the way.
Nice job, Harry. Atta kid. Big smiles. Getting the bat back to Shunk. That could have been dangerous. That's why you have fences in the ballpark. Now, I've never seen a bat get lodged in the fence like that.
It would take a lot of odds to get that knob.
Yeah, what do we think the odds
through
are?
The chain link. Probably a lot. A lot to a little.
Yeah.
Aaron Shunk, a 1-1 count now, facing off against Cotuit left-hander Ryan Smith. Wind up and the pitch, 1-1. Catches the low part of the zone. Nice change up for strike 2. 11-0 Harwich. A 6 spot in the 4th is where they got the majority of their runs, all with 2 outs against the man on the mound now. Smith 1-2. Little slow roller to short. Salvatore takes. Good throw for out number 1. So leadoff man retired here in the top of 6. Andre Lipsius, the first baseman, Tennessee Volunteer, will step in, clean up batter, nobody aboard and 1 out. Sweeping outside the right-handed batter's box. He's got the stirrups on. He wears his pants rolled down a little lower with the cuffs just about midway through the shins. Takes a breaking pitch off the plate for ball 1.
I know you're a long pants man. Am I correct?
And a miss, 1-1 count. Yeah, I am. I never liked the high socks look.
I'm a high socks guy. Maybe it's because I'm a little dude. You're taller. What are you, 6'1", 6'2"?
I'm 6 foot.
6'3"?
I'm 6 foot
All
even.
right.
Good fastball on the inside part of the plate as Smith gets ahead in the count. 1-2 on Lipsius. Lipsius 3 for 3 on the day. 3 runs scored, 3 driven in, and 2 doubles. Big man out of Tennessee has been a big piece in this Harwich order. 3 home runs and 19 runs driven in on the campaign. It's 2-2, another base hit. Right back up the box. How about these Harwich Mariners at the plate? 11 runs on now 14 hits with a 1-out single from Lipsius, who's aboard for the 4th time today.
It's just a hit parade. They look just like Falmouth did the other day, just like Falmouth did a couple weeks ago when they put double digits on the Kettleers. Obviously, some of the blame goes to Cotuit, but a lot of it is Harwich swinging at everything and making good contact.
Slow tapper in front of the mound. Smith spins, and all he can do is throw to first to retire Danny Casals on 1 pitch. Lipsius moves up to second base. 2 outs here in the 6th, and Matt Gorski will have a chance. Matt Gorski, 2 for 3 on the day. A 2-run double back in the 4th. 2 of his 3 runs driven in on the day. Playing center field after starting in left, Chris Gallen got hurt a couple of innings into this ball game. Ben Norman moved into left field off the bench as Gorski takes a curveball outside for ball 1. Gorski, one of the best hitters in the Indiana lineup this spring. As Smith's 1-0 offering is hacked and missed, a good curveball to make it a 1-1 count. And the Hoosiers will have a new headman as Jeff Mercer from Wright State. Coaches, of course, Zane Collins on the Kettleers along with Peyton Burdick. Moving back to Bloomington, where he calls home, to coach the Hoosiers next spring. Gorski, a rising junior, led Indiana in batting average this season. Runner on second with 2 outs, the 2-1. Fastball high upstairs, 3 balls and a strike.
And now replacing Mercer over at Wright State, a former Kettleer,
Alex Sogard. Yeah. Pitching coach and in-house promotion. Pitched for the Kettleers back in 2008. Rip and a miss there on the 3-1 pitch. Gorski unable to find that 87-mile-an-hour fastball from Smith, and the count runs full. It's Lipsius on second base after the 1-3 fielder's choice. His 4th base hit of the ball game. A big smile for him as he takes his lead. The full count pitch, fended off foul. You hear the youngsters there jockeying for that foul ball. The 3-2 again. In the dirt, ball 4.
Now with the kid in the back who you heard on the mic behind us going, hey, 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 that was the oldest trick in the book. You try and distract everyone, get them to turn around and find whatever you're screaming at, and then you take advantage and dart right past them. From what I saw out of the window here in the press box, didn't look like it worked, but a good effort nonetheless from that young man.
We'll have to keep tabs and see if he goes back to it on the next foul ball. And he'll get a chance here. Nate Eichhoff digging in, fouling one back towards the parking lot. And it takes a high bounce and hits a white Jeep out there.
That one was near my car.
Yeah. A white Jeep with it looks like an Illinois plate. That might be one of the players or interns, judging by where it's located at in the lot. The 0-1, Eichhoff turns it towards first base on the ground. Dillard takes a 3, an unassisted putout. For the final out here in this top of the 6th inning. Ryan Smith stranding a couple of base runners as Cotuit will be back at the plate. Bottom of the 6th coming up next, 11-0 Harwich here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 6th inning, 11-0 Harwich over Cotuit, and the Kettleers will come to the plate facing a new arm out of the Harwich bullpen. Starter Will Matheson comes out of this ball game in line for the win. He goes 5 innings, allowing 6 hits, no runs. Walked 2 batters and struck out 3. And a right-hander coming out of the pen, Gage Gillian. 6'2", 175 pounds, a rising sophomore at Walters State Community College in Morristown, Tennessee. Native Tennessean from Spring Hill. He'll come into this ball game trying to protect an 11-0 Harwich lead, facing the middle of the Cotuit order. Once again, Duke Ellis leading things off. This is actually the 3rd time that Ellis has led off in this ball game. Led off back in the 2nd, also in the 4th. Flew out to right and struck out looking respectively. He gets a chance here, followed by Brady Smith and Mike Salvatore. Wearing number 2, Gage Gillian. The right-hander from the stretch Winds up, 85-mile-an-hour fastball at the shoulders for ball 1. Activated on Sunday, making his first appearance in a Harwich uniform. Coming out of the pen here in the 6th. From the belt, kicks and deals. Overhead delivery arm slot. A 2-0 count now with the bad fastball on Ellis.
That's the purest overhead delivery I think I've ever seen. Exactly right down the middle, kind of a clunky motion. Doesn't pull his arm back too much and then just goes right over the top, sending the ball down.
The 2-0, he misses high with another fastball, and at this rate, he's going to walk Ellis on 4 pitches. Kind of a herky-jerky delivery. He comes set upright at 6'3" and then raises the mitt with the leg lift and misses upstairs once again. He was not even close on any of those 4 pitches. A 4-pitch walk to Ellis to lead off the bottom of the 6th here. That's the 12th walk of the season for Duke. 12 walks to 12 strikeouts on the campaign. Pretty good ratio for the outfielder from Texas. And now a mound visit from Steve Englert, the Harwich manager, after a terrible-looking 4-pitch walk from the right-hander and Gage Gillian.
It would take a lot for the Kettleers to scratch and claw into this game. I fear that even if Gage Gillian has a total meltdown, it probably wouldn't be enough, but see if the Kettleers can get some mojo going, just like the other day against Falmouth, trailing 8-0. Try and scrap across a run, make it look a little prettier. Brady Smith, a good candidate to do that. He's already reached on a walk today.
Brady Smith 0 for 1 with that walk. Runner on, nobody out in the bottom of 6. Gillian, the right-hander, sets. Now to the plate. Curveball that misses at the shoulders once again. He's unable to bring anything down. That's 5 consecutive balls right out of the bullpen. Harwich defense at double play depth on the infield. Duo of Morris and Casals up the pipe. Ellis the lead at first. Here's the 1-0. Curveball, called strike on the outside corner at 73 miles an hour. 1-1 count. Smith from Florida, standing in the right-handed batter's box with the Blackwood bat and the Franklin white batting gloves. The 1-1, 84-mile-an-hour fastball that misses way up and in. 2-1 the count. Gillian looking all over the place. From Walters State Community College in Tennessee, the runner-up in the JUCO National Championship this year against Chipola College. That finished up back in June. The 2-1. Fastball spiked down low for ball 3, and Smith ahead in the count once again.
I know we haven't mentioned it on the air yet this season, but Brady Smith was in the national news circuit, maybe just on the sports side, for being sort of a Matt Damon doppelganger. And that last time when he turned around after taking a ball, I just saw it.
Matt Damon, or check that, Brady Smith takes a pitch upstairs and works another walk.
It's really a striking resemblance.
It is.
I mean,
if you want to picture Brady Smith listening
Google,
on the radio
Google
broadcast, this is Born Identity right here. This
totally
is Matt
is.
Damon. As Smith draws the second walk of this frame. So Ellis on second, Smith on first, nobody out, and Salvi comes to the plate.
And talking about movie stars, not only do the Kettleers have a player who's a Matt Damon doppelganger, but also, of course, Ryan Reynolds out of Texas. His birthday today, also, that's a movie star.
First pitch to Salvatore, way up and outside in the other batter's box, a 1-0 count.
I'm trying to think of some movies Ryan Reynolds was in. Was he in The Switch with Jason Bateman, where they, like, switch lives?
I don't really follow Ryan Reynolds that much. I just know Deadpool, obviously.
Green Lantern.
Okay, Green Lantern, yep.
Oh, Van Wilder.
1-0 from Gillian. Curveball that never curved down, a 2-0 count. 11 pitches to Kettleers batters in this inning. Only one has found the strike zone. 2 walks to Duke Ellis and Brady Smith. They're the 2 runners aboard here in the bottom of 6. Cotuit trailing 11-0. If you're going to start something, getting a boost here from Gillian out of the pen. The 2-0, get me over fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. Quiet crowd looking on here at Lowell Park. Some have filed out. Others have stuck around to enjoy a great day of baseball. No matter what the score line, America's pastime at a beautiful park. There's another high fastball from Gillian, who can't buy a strike. It's 3-1. Talking about Ryan Reynolds, obviously. Happy birthday to Ryan Reynolds, the player for Cotuit. Out of today's lineup with a back injury, unfortunately, that he sustained over at the Fenway workout. 3-1, ball 4. Bases loaded now with nobody out, and the 9-batter and Zach Humphreys will come to the plate. Mound visit now as the catcher Driscoll will come out and try and comfort the right-hander and Gage Gillian making his Cape League debut. A 5-pitch walk to Mike Salvatore, 5-pitch walk to Brady Smith, and a 4-pitch walk to Duke Ellis. And the bases are juiced. Zach Humphreys at the plate. An 11-0 ball game with Cotuit on the short end of it.
Yeah, let's see if the Kettleers can get something going. One of the All-Stars and Zach Humphreys coming up. He's been solid with runners in scoring position, swinging a hot bat as of late. 350 hitter over his last 10 games. And a chance. Bases loaded, no one out.
The chance for Cotuit to get on the board. Humphreys at the plate with the bases loaded. Gillian's first pitch. Good fastball on the inside corner for strike 1. The top of the order looming. Will Robertson, Michael Tolia, and maybe even Thomas Dillard will look to get a chance as Humphreys, the catcher from TCU, stands in the batter's box. 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts to right field today. Gillian's 0-1. Curveball that drops in there for strike 2, and it looks like he's found his control, getting ahead on Humphreys. A 6-run 4th inning, bolstering an 11-run afternoon for Harwich thus far. Kettleers yet to score. Here's the 0-2. Curveball just off the plate. Good take from Humphreys. 1-2 the count. Cotuit will play Harwich again tomorrow. A home-and-home to start out this slate of 5 games in between Fenway and the All-Star break. Traveling to White House Field, a 6:30 first pitch, mañana. The 1-2. Ripped into left field, Zach Humphreys. A base knock with the bases loaded. Ellis comes home to score. Smith held up at third, and the Kettleers on the board here in the home half of the 6th. Zach Humphreys breaking through with the RBI single.
Finally something to cheer about. That's what you like to see in a blowout like this. You just need to get something, give the home crowd something to cheer about. We get it there, hearing the drum banging. Zach Humphreys doing a nice job, keeps his hot streak going. And still bases loaded, no one out. Top of the order coming up, a chance to pounce.
Will Robertson, the leadoff man, bases still loaded and nobody out. First pitch from Gillian, over the top, sent in the air, straightaway center. Gorski a few hard steps onto it. He makes the grab for out number 1. A good throw that's cut off by Lipsius on the pitcher's mound will allow the base runners to stay put. So no sacrifice fly from Robertson, who jumped on the first pitch, and the first out for Gage Gillian on the mound. 3 walks to load the bases. The RBI single from Humphreys, and then the fly out to center field there from Robertson. Now Michael Tolia, big power bat out of UCLA. Switch hitter, batting from the left side here against the right-hander Gillian out of Walters State Community College. Runners take their leads, nobody holding on. First pitch to Michael, above the belt for ball 1. Little bit of a gap on the left side of the infield. Eichhoff, the third baseman, playing even on that indent by the third base bag. The shortstop and Morris playing a little behind the runner Salvatore, trying to hold him up. So if Tolia can get a hold of one, good chance to score a run.
Napo Taco.
Gillian's 1-0. Big rip and a miss at a high fastball for strike 1. Kettleers in the home pinstripes today. Harwich in the visiting Navy template with the gray pants. Gillian trying to work out of a bases loaded jam with 1 out. 1-1 pitch is a curveball high and inside for ball 2. 1 run home of the inning. Humphreys the RBI single to score Ellis. An 11-1 ball game. Bottom of the 6th, Harwich on top. Gillian's 2-1. In the other batter's box, 3 balls and a strike to Tolia. Have to wonder what Steve Englert's patience level is with the right-hander making his debut. Already walking 3 batters, in danger of walking a 4th to score another run. Gillian along with Driscoll, the catcher. Going through the signs as Tolia waves the bat at his thighs and gets ready. Now the right-hander comes set. Leg lift into 3-1. Curveball in there. Called strike 2. Bases loaded with 1 out. The full count pitch to Tolia. Skied into right center field. Charging onto it, Rivera. He will call off Gorski and make the catch. 2 down as the runners stay put with the bases loaded. Back-to-back flyouts from the 1 and 2 hitters in the Cotuit order. And now the number 3 batter, Thomas Dillard, who will come to the plate. Bases still full. An 11-1 ball game. Dillard on the day, 1 for 2 with a single back in the first. He walked his last time up in the 5th. With that matte wood bat. That's something we saw in BP the other day. A black wood bat with the matte finish. With the sky blue lettering for the label. As he takes a curveball in the 5-hole, 1-0.
That's sharp. Very sharp bat up there with the best of them on the Kettleers. Duke Ellis's hardwood floor material. That bat might be my number 1 right now. It's been growing on me.
Duke likes it too. He's been swinging the bat well with it. He came home to score on the Humphreys single. Curveball spotted on the outside at 77 miles an hour for strike 1 on Dilly. A 1-1 count. See what TD can do with the bases loaded in 2 outs. Pitch inside, ball 2. Still cloudy skies overhead, a slight breeze. The woodlands of Lowell Park, back beyond the fence. American flag at half-staff out in left center field. Lowell Park with the green Fenway-esque scoreboard as Dillard calls for time at home plate. Runners take big leads. The 2-1. Good changeup in there for strike 2. Activity in the Cotuit bullpen. Looks like the right-hander Bryce Jarvis is getting loose. Ryan Smith has come on in relief for Bryce Bonnet and eaten up a few innings. Gillian's 2-2. Curveball that just missed a little high and inside, and the count runs full on Dillard. Bases loaded, the payoff pitch. Down in the dirt, he walked him. A second run comes in to score here in the bottom of the 6th inning. A 2-out walk to Thomas Dillard with the bases loaded will score Brady Smith. It's now a 9-run deficit for Cotuit. And Gage Gillian issuing his 4th walk of this inning. And now Steve Englert says, I've seen enough. He'll go out to the mound and make a call to his bullpen. Harwich will have a pitching change here in the bottom of the 6th. Kettleers with the bases loaded in 2 outs. We'll be right back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 6th inning, and a new pitcher on for the Harwich Mariners. Steve Engler goes to the bullpen and will call out a left-hander. Joe LaSorsa, 6'5", 205 from St. John's, inheriting a bases-loaded jam, 2 outs, and Corey Wood at the plate for the Kettleers. 2 runs already home in this frame, an 11-2 ball game. LaSorsa's first pitch, fastball whipped outside for ball 1. So Gage Gillian comes on, making his Cape League debut from Walters State Community College. It was rough. Walking in a run with the bases loaded, the RBI single from Zach Humphreys as well. Handed out 4 free passes to Cotuit batters. Now the 1-0, chopped off at home plate by Corey Wood, foul to even up the count. Harwich scoring 3 in the first, 2 in the third, 6 all with 2 outs back in the 4th. And Cotuit finally answering here in the bottom of the 6th with 2 runs of their own. Corey Wood trying to add into that total. LaSorsa's 1-1, way outside, wayward slider, and a good grab by Driscoll behind the plate to keep it from getting behind. Wood steps back in, batting for the left side, 1 for 3 today, a single back in the 3rd. LaSorsa from the belt, his 2-1. Once again, sailing in the other batter's box, a 3-1 count. Harwich's bullpen has not thrown many strikes now. Gillian struggled, and now LaSorsa, a 3-1 count on Wood.
You know, Harwich has one of the better bullpens in the league, that 3.44 staff ERA, but we're not seeing their A arms right now with this score.
Swing and a miss. Hard fastball on the outside corner that Wood just wasn't able to catch up to. And the count runs full. Bases loaded with 2 outs, and the Kettleers down by 9 here in the bottom of 6. Opportunity to at least make this one respectable. Cotuit has left 8 base runners on the ball game. 2 runs on just 7 hits. Corey Wood trying to turn that trend here. The 3-2. Fastball just above the belt, called for ball 4. So Wood drawing another 2-out walk. That's the 2nd run that Harwich has walked in here in this inning. And it's now an 11-3 game.
All right, putting a little dent in it. I know what your theory on comebacks, you have to set benchmarks, right?
Yes.
I know you do that with FIFA
Yep.
and soccer. It's like, okay, at the 80th minute we have to score, at 90th minute we score. So for the Kettleers, some benchmarks, 3 runs in the 6th. Maybe keep chipping away from now on. I'm not saying it's likely, but maybe a fighting chance.
Big chance for Garrett Wolforth, who hacks and fouls one back on the right side at the first pitch of this at-bat. Switch hitter who will bat from the right side against Joe LaSorsa, the left-hander. Thomas Dillard walks with the bases loaded to score Brady Smith. Mike Salvatore scoring there on Corey Wood's 18th walk of the season. That mark 4th best in the Cape League. The 0-1 to Wolforth, down and in to even the count. Wolforth getting the call as a DH today, making his first start for Cotuit from Dallas Baptist, 0 for 3. The 9th batter to come to the plate for the Kettleers in this inning. The 1-1, hard ground ball foul on the left side.
And it really is good to see Wolforth getting an opportunity today. We've seen him working hard as a bullpen catcher, taking infield, outfield, really doing a lot of the dirty work. Mike Roberts said it himself. This guy works harder than pretty much anyone else on the team. We'll see if he can pay off here.
Bases loaded, a 1-2 count with 2 outs. He's just able to get a piece of it off the end of the bat and foul it off to stay alive. Wolforth, the product of a Dallas Baptist baseball program that has been pretty darn good in recent years. 5 consecutive trips to an NCAA regional, including the Fayetteville one in Arkansas this past spring. A chance to prove himself here. The 1-2, swing and a miss. Good changeup from LaSorsa, and that'll end the inning for the Kettleers. But 3 come home. Cotuit gets on the board. RBI single from Humphreys. Bases loaded walks from Dillard and Wood. And it's an 11-3 Harwich lead as we head to the 7th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball.
2.
Top of the 7th inning, and Cotuit down by 8 against the visiting Harwich Mariners. It's an 11-3 ball game, and a new pitcher on, the right-hander Bryce Jarvis from Duke University. He'll be facing the bottom of the Harwich order: Gabe Rivera, Logan Driscoll, and then the leadoff man Tanner Morris. Jarvis's first pitch, slider on the outside corner, called strike 1. Happy to have you along for today's game. Sam Niederman, Sam Brief, our entire Kettleers media crew. Bailey Houston, Mason Horodisky, our director, and Robert O'Neill. The 0-1 skied on the right side of the infield. Dillard, the first baseman, calling off Jarvis, and he'll make the catch for out number 1.
Robert O'Neill controlling the scoreboard today with the great Michael Siegel out of town for today's game. So a new look in the booth over, the PA booth.
Of course, Roy Reese holding down the fort in the booth next to us. Kettleers PA announcer. Leadoff man retired here in the 7th, Bryce Jarvis. Now facing the number 9 batter, catcher Logan Driscoll. Fastball up and away for ball 1. Fans, remember, you can answer our Kettleers broadcast trivia question on Twitter at Cotuit Kettleers. It's about Mike Matheny, former Kettleer player, and now former manager for the St. Louis Cardinals after getting sacked a couple of days ago. Matheny, one of 6 catchers in MLB history to go a season of 100-plus games without committing an error. Who joins Matheny on this list? That's the question. As the 2-0 popped up once again on the infield. Left side, Brady Smith calling it out. He'll make the catch, crashing in towards home plate for 2 outs.
That's how you call. I mean, that's the communication you need in an infield. You had Jarvis, Humphreys also in the area. I'm sure you heard behind us Smith crying out for it. That's how you're supposed to do it. You can't be modest out there on the field.
That's a good lesson for the kids out there.
Of course.
Got to communicate on defense. Got to talk, especially in baseball. Even in sports like basketball, you got to talk on defense. You're a basketball guy.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm a good basketball guy.
Here's Tanner Morris. Excuse me, swing. A ground ball right back to the pitcher's mound, and Jarvis will field and throw to Dillard at first. A 1-2-3 inning for the Kettleers, who will hustle back to the third base dugout and try and get something going. Down 11-3 as we head to the bottom of the 7th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 7th inning here at Lowell Park, and this might be it as we hear Roy Reese, our public address announcer, shout out to home plate umpire Bill Fisher, asking, is this the last half inning? Dark clouds overhead here at Lowell Park, obviously no lights. Current time of the game right now, 7:09 p.m. And darkness beginning to maybe be a concern in an 11-3 ball game. Harwich in control. Duke Ellis leading off again for the 4th inning this ball game, in his 4th plate appearance as he hacks through a fastball from Joe LaSorsa. Duke 0 for 2 on the day with a walk his last time up, came around to score as he takes a hard fastball inside for ball 1. A 1-1 count to the outfielder from Texas. Kettleers trailing by 8 runs. LaSorsa's 1-1. Off speed on the inside at 2-1 hitters count.
It'll probably be, if it's a quick inning, we'll play an 8th, but if not, this would probably be it.
1-1. Ellis on the front elbow as he tries to shake off his right arm in pain. He's not wearing an elbow guard, but takes one for Cotuit there. A hit batsman to get the leadoff man aboard here in the 7th.
It is really dark out there. Those dark clouds rolling in. The rain expected to come in around 10 o'clock. Now 9 o'clock is what my trusty dusty weather app is saying. The Craig Moody trot to first to check on Duke Ellis.
Craig Moody emerging from the Kettleers dugout for the 2nd time today. He came out and checked on Bryce Bonin, who exited in the middle of the 3rd inning, only going 2 2/3, the starting pitcher for Cotuit. And now he'll check on Duke Ellis. They're looking at that right elbow as he got hit by a pitch and is on first base right now. Moody, athletic trainer for Cotuit in his 4th season. And now he'll run on back to the Kettleers home dugout. Galloping like a gazelle out there, really.
I love it.
It's dark at Lowell Park. It just got darker, I think, in the last 3 seconds.
Yeah, this will probably be it, this inning.
First pitch to Brady Smith, fouled off behind home plate. Harwich took this game by the horns right out of the gate. They led 3-0 after the first, 5-0 after the third, 6 more runs added on in the 4th to make it 11-0. Cotuit scoring 3 back in the bottom of 6, thanks to 4 walks and just 1 hit. Zach Humphreys, the RBI single, just about the best thing to happen today for this Kettleer team that is on the short end of an 11-3 defeat, it looks like. Wind blowing the trees. Ellis takes his lead. The 1-1. Get back foul by Smith.
Yeah, at a certain point, you just have to say it's an 11-3 ball game. It's not much of a ball game anymore, and with the darkness coming in, I mean, I'd love to see more baseball. I'd love to finish it out. But it is dark out there.
We'll see what the call is from the umpiring crew as the Kettleers try and continue their efforts. A hard ground ball to short. Morris flips his second for 1. Casals on the run, throwing the dirt, picked out by Lipsius. What a double play turn there from Harwich. 6-4-3. Morris to Casals and Lipsius with the dig at the end of it. And that'll be 2 quick outs for Cotuit here in the bottom of 7 as Smith grounds into the double play.
That was good stuff. That was an awesome double play. And Brady Smith, pretty quick over to first, but an excellent turn. And it was all started by Lipsius, or by Morris. Check that over at first.
Mike Salvatore with 2 outs and nobody aboard, and the Kettleers down by 8 here in the bottom of 7. Just might represent the last hope, as this game could be called early for darkness. Dark clouds overhead and no lights here at Lowell Park. Fans had a good changeup outside, and he's down in an 0-2 hole. Joe LaSorsa, the left-hander from St. John's, looking in. 6'5", nods at the sign. Now is 0-2. Hard one-hopper to second. Funneled up by Casals, 4-3 to first, and that's the final out of the inning, and the final out of this ball game. This game will be called for darkness, and the final score will go in favor of the Harwich Mariners, 11-3, a beatdown of the Kettleers on their home turf. Harwich the road win in 7 innings here at Lowell Park.
Well, it just was one of those days. Harwich on fire, Kettleers on ice. And the good news is these two teams get to do battle again tomorrow and try see if the Kettleers can turn the tide. Also, we got to get our trivia answer before the end of this game.
Yeah, why don't we end on something lighthearted here before we take it a break, and then we'll wrap up as the two teams shake hands. 11-3, Harwich takes this victory in 7 innings, called for darkness. Let's go to the trivia answer. The question was, Sam, why don't you go ahead and read it off, and I'll see if I got it correct.
So our question was about Mike Matheny, a 1990 Kettleer. He was a Major League catcher for 12 seasons, and he's one of just 6 catchers in league history to go a full season of 100 games without committing an error. My question to you, who joins Matheny on this list? One of these 4. Is it A, Yan Gomes, B, James McCann, C, Yadier Molina, or D, A.J. Pierzynski? 61% of the vote goes to Molina. You picked Molina. You're feeling good about that.
Very good.
You're feeling very good.
Yep.
Extremely good.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't. You're wrong.
No!
The answer is B, James McCann.
Ah, no.
Out of left field. Yep, it's McCann. Is one of those 6. James McCann, Buddy Rosar, Chris Iannetta.
Whoa,
Charles
Iannetta.
Johnson, Chris Snyder, and Mike Matheny. That is the list of 6. And
Wow.
you, my friend, have swung on and missed.
Ah, man. Well, Yachty, you know, he steers me wrong that time. A Gold Glover, you could pencil him in every year for the NL for a while.
I threw you a
there.
bone. I threw you a big
Yeah,
bone.
well, McCann, not a bad catcher in his own right for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just glad that I got to hear Kojo's name. Charles Johnson.
Charles Johnson.
Wow,
yeah.
I
And how
never
about
thought I would hear
Chris
that name in a
Iannetta,
while.
too?
Yeah,
Out of
he's
the
an
Rockies.
offensive catcher
Yeah.
as well. I was not expecting that.
So, yeah, there you go. There's our trivia answer.
Very cool.
Sorry to the 62% of you who voted for Molina. You sided with Sam. Something you should learn is to never side with Sam on these. I've stumped him again.
Well, good job, my friend. Very good job. There's a trivia answer. It was B, James McCann out of the Detroit Tigers, one of the other 6 catchers to go 100-plus games without committing an error, in addition to former Kettleer Mike Matheny. So there you go. 11-3, Harwich slams Cotuit. We'll be back in just a moment with the post-game wrap here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. As we wrap this one up, post-game show here in the broadcast booth. Harwich taking an 11-3 win over Cotuit here at Lowell Park in 7 innings. This game called due to darkness, dark clouds overhead. And this game only lasting about a couple of hours, but it didn't take long for Harwich to beat back on Cotuit. An 11-3 Mariners victory. A forgettable day for the Kettleers, who only rack up 3 runs at the plate. And they left 11 on base, and you're not going to win too many games in that kind of fashion.
No, absolutely not. It was not a pretty day for the Kettleers offensively or defensively. Started out with Bryce Bonnet on the mound, who was banged up, exited the game with what appeared to be a shoulder injury. He got rung up by this Harwich offense. And, of course, the Kettleers didn't have much to offer with just 3 runs coming in on that 6th inning where Gage Gillian came in and just wasn't up to par, didn't really have the stuff. One of those days, unfortunately, as of late, the Kettleers have had a few of those. A chance to rebound tomorrow against this same Harwich team. That's the good news. Short memory in this league. In 24 hours, we'll be probably in the 7th or 8th inning of another game against Harwich and able to forget about this one. So you got to have that short memory in a league like this. Mike Roberts huddled up with his team right now. I'm sure has some choice words for them about the effort, about the intensity. We know intensity is a hot topic for him. He really wants to see his team play with that intensity, and I'm sure he didn't see much of it today with the 11-3 loss. So it's unfortunate but the sky isn't falling. Maybe it will soon when the rain comes in, but for now it's not, and there'll be another game tomorrow.
Tomorrow at Harwich, 6:30 p.m. First pitch from White House Field. We'll have the broadcast for you right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. As always, let's get you some Cape League scores while we're here. A final, obviously, at Lowell Park, and in the top of the third in Hyannis, the Harbor Hawks leading the Bourne Braves 4-3. A weather delay across the canal at Spillane Field. A 3-3 tie between Wareham and Falmouth. That game delayed right now due to rain. In Chatham, it's Brewster who's up 2-0 in the bottom of one, and just getting underway in Orleans, YD and Orleans scoreless. So that's your look at the Cape League scoreboard. As this game goes final, one to forget for the Kettleers, as Harwich wins 11-3 for the Mariners, 11 runs on 14 hits, 1 error. They left 5 on base. Cotuit 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors, and 11 left. As the winning pitcher is Will Matheson, improving to 1-1 on the campaign. Bryce Bonnet, the losing pitcher in his first start, going 0-1 now. Nobody in a save situation. Time of the game, 2 hours and 13 minutes. As it was suspended and called in the 7th inning, a final due to darkness. We'll talk to you tomorrow at Harwich, 6:30 p.m. first pitch. Broadcast to start approximately 10 minutes right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. We'll see you then. For our entire Kettleers media team and Sam Brief,